Recording in progress. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And Adam's going to help me through this. This is my first time. So as I stumble through, please be patient with me. Okay?
6:02 p.m.
Excuse me?
At 6:02.
Call to
02.
6:02 p.m. Okay, we call to order and we'll do the roll call now.
Yes. Vice Chair Graham.
Here.
Commissioner Bose. Here. Commissioner Jimenez. Here. Commissioner Martinez. Present. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
And Commissioner Holmes.
Here.
Thank you. We'll do this flag. So who's going to lead with the flag?
Hey, rise, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
To America and to the republic which stands one nation under indivisible with liberty and justice for. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, Secretary's report, Adam?
Yes, the meeting, it was published on February 15th, 2025.
Okay. And we have to do the approval of minutes.
We do. So for our newest commissioners, I'm going to go over this momentarily during the orientation session. But what's going to happen is the chair is going to ask for, the vice chair is going to ask for a motion to support the minutes. Do you approve the minutes which are in your meeting? Someone is going to say perhaps, yes, motion to approve the minutes. Another commissioner will second. And then you will go, then the vice chair will ask for a vote. Everyone says aye, the motion will pass. 7-0.
So they can't hear.
If you want, you're more than welcome to come up to these seats. We don't have mics. We'll do the best we can.
Oh, that's
Okay.
okay. Well, all right. Thank you. So we need an approval of the minutes.
I move we accept minutes. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All righty.
All those opposed? Okay, so the motion passes 7-0. And that third number is abstain. If someone doesn't want it, you don't have to vote.
Yeah, good to
And
know.
again, we'll go over that.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got the approval of minutes and approval of agenda.
So you're approving tonight's agenda, order minutes.
Yes. Okay, and we have some introductions tonight.
Wait, let's first approve the agenda.
Oh,
I
sorry.
move we accept the agenda as printed.
I second that.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Now can I go on to? Pardon me?
Introductions.
Introductions. Okay, so first of all, we have Jesse. Jimenez, welcome. You're new to us. Just let us know a little bit about yourself.
I'm Jesse Jimenez, born and raised here in the city of Gilroy. I volunteer there at the Future Outreach Organization, nonprofit organization here locally. I am part of the council because I have a passion for the Parks and Recreation.
Sorry, it's the commission comments.
It's okay. Yeah, so yeah, I have a passion for Parks and Recreation, want to be able to see our community thrive.
Yeah.
And it'd be a safe place and something nice to do for the whole community.
Okay, thank you. And then there's Emily Miller. Welcome, Emily.
Emily Miller. I just moved here almost a year ago and really excited to be here. I live right by the Gilroy Sports Park, which is absolutely gorgeous already. But I think there's more we can do for our parks and the whole city. So I'm here to try to do it, see how it works.
Great. Thank you. And then we've got Javier Martinez.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Javier Martinez. I am a long resident of Gilroy. Been in Gilroy my whole life. I love Gilroy. I have no intention of leaving it anytime soon. Went to school here. I even went to Gavin College, got my A there, transferred to San Luis State, got my degree in business administration, my emphasis was management, but still came back to serve my city. Professionally, at the county level, I work in juvenile crime prevention. It's just something I'm very passionate about. And parks has always had a soft spot in my heart because growing up, I was always in the parks. So I want to be able to provide the same opportunity to others that are in my situation when I was there. So our parks are a gem in Gilroy, and I believe if we nurture them correctly, there can be a lot that. So I'm excited to be here and excited to serve you all and the community of Gilroy.
Thank you. Terrific. All right, and we've got who else? Javier Jorge.
Yes.
Your turn.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jorge Vargas. I'm the general manager of In-N-Out Burger here in Gilroy. I've been here at this location as a GM for the last 12 years, with the company of In-N-Out Burger since I was 21, 22. So it's been about 22 years now. I started at In-N-Out when attending San Jose State, thinking it was only going to be summer jobs, as I was sharing with Jesse earlier. And I realized that it was something I really enjoyed doing, and the company is a very unique company, like I've mentioned, and I decided to pursue management, and I have not regretted that decision. So did go to school for graphic design, but that was more of like what my high school teachers did tell me at the time, like, hey, pursue something you want to do, like you enjoy doing, your passion, which I have a passion for art, but that's not what my calling was. So I'm here now because I'm a resident of Gilroy now for the last 3 years. And I see that there's a lot of opportunity for kids, for youth specifically, and underprivileged kids that are here in this community. And knowing that I come from a background of low income immigrant families that don't have a lot of access to it, makes me want to do more for the community. So I'm here to help out, and I'm here to hopefully shape the future of In-N-Out Burger the future of Gilroy. As I was getting to that word thrive. I like that word. So I want to see Gilroy thrive. Got to get that out of my mind. So I grew up in Salinas since I was about 7 years old. So east side of Salinas, it's not too different from some of the neighborhoods here in Gilroy. And that's where kind of a little light kind of started getting me going. And then my older brother is a role model as well of like, hey, let's help out the community. He's been a resident of Gilroy for 20 years now himself, and he's helped a lot. So he's my role model, and that's why I'm here as well. So kind of a multiple avenues of why I'm here to help out. So nice to meet you all. It's going to be, I do know it's going to be awesome starting this path in my life.
Well, thank you. Welcome. That's terrific. All right, so we're going on to public comments, and Emily, you've talked. Do we need anybody else to? Did we?
Yeah.
We're good. Okay, so public comment on items not on the agenda.
Are there any public comments? Not on the
Yeah.
agenda.
Was that a yes? Yes.
It just makes it easier for us to manage it, but if you have a public comment, you can, but if it's on the agenda, then you need to wait for that agenda item.
Discussion on the agenda.
No.
It is not. So, but I do notice that some of you put 2 down for pickleball, and I'm assuming you want to make some sort of connection with the budget.
Yes.
Okay, so I would then wait till
10.2, you said?
10 to. Yeah. Okay, so we could, so is there anyone else who has an item, but it's not on the agenda?
Okay, and then commissioner orientation.
Yes, that's for our 4 commissioners. It's also a refresher for our current commissioners,
Thank you.
because we actually, I heard this since you started.
I'm brand
Okay,
new.
so if you open up your reading packets. new commissioner orientation. We're gonna go over this, it's right after minutes.
So you're looking at mine? Oh, you thought it was on the back. You think you're good.
Okay, well, I just want you to follow along. If you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or just interrupt me and I'll pause and stop. We do have a full agenda tonight, so if there's something that needs more clarification or you have specific questions about, we can talk offline. And I can kind of explain it in more detail. So this is kind of a general overview. There will be things that we talk about tonight that aren't necessarily going to be in the orientation, but I try to cover all of the major items. Okay. So first of all, congratulations on your appointment. It is not easy to sit up in front of the city council and answer questions, talk about yourself and why you want to get on this commission. So good job. And I'm gonna, again, just follow along here on this page. As a council appointed commissioner, you are an extension of the city of Gilroy. Your conduct during and outside of meetings is a reflection of the city of Gilroy. So please be mindful of this. View me as your liaison to the city. If you have ever questions or concerns, of course, related to Parks and Recreation, feel free to reach out to me. I can either answer your question or I'll connect you with someone. Below are the recommended guidelines to adhere to while serving as a city commissioner. And it is not a coincidence that the very first thing I wrote down is be on time. There are meetings where we've had to cancel because we don't have enough commissioners present when the meeting begins, and then we have to either reschedule it or we just cancel it altogether. It also disrupts the meeting flow if we're waiting for people to come. Now I understand things happen, you get stuck in traffic, it might be something else. If you could email me or just try to most importantly, try to be here on time. I recommend getting here at least 5 minutes before so you can just kind of get yourself acclimated. I usually have the doors unlocked about 1:45. Meetings occur monthly on the third Tuesday and begin at 6 o'clock. If you cannot attend a meeting and you know in advance, please contact me via email. If you miss 3 meetings within a calendar year, it is considered abandonment. It will be automatically removed from the commission. Keep something in mind too. This commission meets historically on average about 10 times a year. Now, you're thinking, well, there's 12 months in a meeting in a year, right? Well, typically this commission goes dark, which means it doesn't meet in the month of December because of the holidays, and then also either usually July or August during summer to accommodate people's vacations and things like that. So if you're missing 3 meetings, that means you're missing 30% of the meetings, and it's hard to be an effective commissioner. You can't physically be here. Be prepared on the day of the meeting by reading the packet in advance. So you all receive this packet via email on Thursday. Gives you hopefully enough time to review it. I would say this is probably about the average length of a meeting packet. Occasionally, it might be very thick because someone from a different department has a report. They need you to approve a specific item, and there's a lot of pages attached to it. But normally, it's anywhere from 8 to 15 pages.
Adam,
Yes.
is there any way we can get the packets sooner than, because that only leaves us like from Thursday to Monday, and that's like not enough time to read through a lot. Or if we want to, let people know that stuff's happening, like what's going on with
The rest of the month so the packet is being compiled by me. It's also John here, who's a production advisor, and so we're just the package is just not ready. It's just not ready to be available for the public. And typically, it could be actually as late as Friday sometimes if I'm waiting on a report, which does happen. I may not be able to get it out until Friday. So the goal is to get Thursday before the meeting, but sometimes it's going to be Friday.
Is there any way that we could move it back? Like, what do we wait? Like, I know sometimes we're waiting on the 4th.
It
It's just not a lot of time to read through everything and like prepare.
I understand, and like I said, my goal is to always get it to Thursday. As you can see, I'm not only the secretary, I'm also the one preparing the packet, doing most of the staff reports. It's the best I can do is to get it Thursday. So just be prepared. Keep in mind, it's only once a month, and it's 10 times during the year. So just try to do your best to set aside an hour or two to review the packet. If you have questions, during that time, you can email them to me, and I'll try to do my best to either field them through email or we can discuss it during.
Are you on email on the weekend then, since we're getting it Thursday, maybe Friday? Meeting.
Uh, Typically no, but you know, we can talk a lot more about this after.
Okay, and then I have one question. If for some reason these like less than 12 meetings a year, we can't get what we need to get done, is there like special meetings? Like I see the planning commission does like special meetings.
Occasionally, there is a special meeting. The point of tonight, and you actually see this, we're gonna talk about the work plan. And within the work plan, the goal is to create a work plan that's doable within those 10 meetings. That's the goal. So we don't want to overload the commission because not everyone is able to commit beyond the meetings that historically we've been doing for us. I don't know.
So no, we can't have special meetings, or we,
I'm saying, no, we can if it necessitates it, but if it doesn't, then we're not gonna have a special meeting.
how, so if we wanted to have a special meeting, how would we do that? And we can talk about it later.
There's different ways. One is if there is something that requires the commission for approval, I will check to see if everyone is available. Again, you need a forum to have a meeting, which we'll talk about in a moment. For another thing is, if really that's usually when we would have a special meeting. Keep in mind, the commission is an advisory commission. It's an advisory to the city council. It doesn't actually make any policy. All right, let me keep going because there is a lot to cover. During the meeting, there are no side conversations. There is no use of electronic devices if it is not pertinent to the meeting. So if you want to take notes, an iPad or something, or even on your phone, that's fine. But you shouldn't be texting, you shouldn't be doing other things, because otherwise you're not paying attention and you're not going to be able to make a strong contribution to the commission and also to its distracting times. Okay, there's a picture below here. That is Mr. Ralph Brown. Probably have not heard of him, but you may have heard of something called the Brown Act, and it is named after him. Ralph Brown in the 1940s and 50s was a state legislator. He was representing the Modesto area. And during that time in Sacramento, they didn't have many rules regarding meetings. So basically, an hour before a meeting, you could post an agenda and have your meeting with very little to no input. And what happened was, as you can expect, there was a lot of corruption. So Ralph Brown came up with this act, which was eventually adopted, not only at the state level, but it trickles all the way down to the local. So whether you're in the school board, the county, regional, or state government, this is the required within the state of California. So if you go to a different state, it doesn't apply. But basically, what is the Brown Act? This is very important so you understand why we do the things we do. Meetings are properly noticed and open to the public. So again, this meeting needs to be notified at least 72 hours in advance. Now, if we have an emergency meeting, we have to notify 24 hours. Public has an opportunity to comment on all agenda items and items not on the agenda. So, as you saw earlier in the meeting, I asked if there were any public comments that were not on the agenda. And there were. So that's part of the meeting protocol. And then for each item here. So if you look at your agenda and you see, for example, for new business, it says public comment after the staff report. That's an opportunity for the public to comment on this item. Only that. If they're commenting about something else, it's not relevant. It needs to either wait for another item or it needs to go to items not. Let's see here. Legislative body conducts votes in a public meeting in a setting. So all commission decisions must be made at the meeting. So this is where it's really important that you understand this. So you cannot, the 7 of you, go out to dinner and start talking about the Parks and Rec Commission meeting and items that are either currently on the agenda or could be on the agenda in the future. That would be a violation of the Brown Act because you're not properly noticing the public. You're not doing it in an open public forum. So it's really important that when you see each other, it's a small town, you talk about anything you want. I would avoid talking about Parks and Rec Commission. Some of the commissioners who've been on the commission for a while know exactly what I'm talking about. It's very tempting because that is most likely your connection with one another, but you need to avoid it so you don't violate the Brown Act. So when you're not in a public commission, when not in a public commission meeting, commissioners can talk to one another. Just explain this. It also includes nowadays texting, right? So if you're friendly with each other, just because you are not verbally communicating, it still will be considered a violation. So texting, emailing, it all counts. If you're unsure whether or not you're in violation or you want to do something that could be potentially a violation, check with me and I'll let you know. Okay, next page. I do have there's a link here. If you want to learn more about the Brown Act, public meetings, it's very it's much more detailed than what I'm going to do tonight. I'm just trying to kind of do an overview of what it entails. Okay, I've used this word already once, but quorum. What is a quorum? It's when the majority of commissioners are present and action is taken. So, give you an example. If there are 7 people on this commission, we can still have a meeting, 6, we can have a meeting, 5 of you. We can have a meeting with 4 of you. We cannot have a meeting with 3 of you. Prior to the recent appointments, 4 of you, there were just 4 commissioners, which meant if one of them was absent, we could not have a meeting. And so I often check with them to see, are you going to be at a meeting? Because if they weren't, there would be no meeting. Now that we have 7 of you, not in that situation anymore. I already talked about best practice not to discuss commission-related business with fellow commissioners. Okay, understanding the meeting's agenda. We haven't actually had this yet, but tonight you're going to have some public comments. Not every meeting has public comments, but tonight you're going to. When someone is giving a public comment, they're going to have. It's going to be actually up to the acting chair tonight. But they have 2 minutes, they have 3 minutes. And then as soon as they're done, they're done. You don't provide any sort of commentary, you don't provide your opinion based on whatever you're saying. It's going to be very tempting. And I have to then say, hey, Commissioner X, you can't talk about this because they can provide public comment, but you can't comment on it. You do have an opportunity, hold on one second, do have an opportunity to have a discussion about the items. That's why you're here. But in terms of public comments, you can listen to it. It may even help sway your vote, but you cannot engage in a conversation with the person. Now, if you have a very, very specific question about something they said, for example, they're talking about a park, and they start talking about this park, how there's graffiti there, there's trash everywhere. You can ask, what park? What park are you talking about? That's fair. But you don't want to start engaging in a conversation about why that's happening, or have you thought of this, have you called this person? I will have their contact information. So, for example, we had someone recently, they had a question about something, we weren't able to answer it at the meeting. So I followed up with him. Work plan. Okay. In your meeting packet tonight, you're going to have an opportunity to talk about the work plan for the next budget cycle. Budget cycle will begin on July 1. So currently there is a work plan, which is for all intents and purposes, is finished up. I think there's maybe one more item on there that the commission will get to, and then pretty much be done with this work plan. And then, but for tonight, actually next month, there's an opportunity to not only discuss, but also adopt a work plan for the next budget cycle. The work plan is not set in stone. It can make changes to it along the way, but you will be submitting it to the city council for their review here. And we'll talk more about that when we get to it later. Okay, this is what often trips people up who've never served board or commission, is the protocol of decision making. Okay, and you've already experienced it. Chair will announce the item, right? So say she announced the minutes. Or actually, let's use the next item, which is the selection of a chair and vice chair. The staff will then report on the item. So, for example, I'll give the report. Basically, it's an extension of what's already in your packet. And then the commission can ask any clarifying questions, and then we go to public comment. After public comment, there might still be a need for discussion. And if there is, that's fine. And then at some point, someone, if it is needed, can make a motion. Not every item is going to require a motion. But if it does, someone makes a motion. If there's a second, it's not a given that there's always going to be a second. Maybe no one else supports what the motion is being put forward. So then you start over. Someone else puts a motion. Maybe it's a motion to table the item. That's fine. But someone needs to put a motion if that's what's being asked of the item. And then if someone seconds it, then you can go to a vote. Is it is everyone in favor of it? It doesn't necessarily have to be 7-0. It could be 4-3, it could be 6-1. And then we take a vote, and then the chair shall announce. Yes.
Can you give an example of something that wouldn't require a motion?
Trying to think of something recently, but there are items on here, like for example, I will be providing an update on recreation services. So there's no motion. There is an opportunity to ask questions, but there's no motion. John will do the same when he's the versus parks report. There's no motion. It's just discussion.
I mean, if you wanted to be like, oh, I want more information about this parks report, can you motion to get more?
For that, you don't have to. No. So if the item doesn't call for a motion, then there's no need to do that.
And it says which, okay, it says in the, which items call for a motion.
Yes, so for example, if you look on page 2, do you see where it says like new business, for example?
Yeah.
So possible action, let's look at 10.1.
Okay,
So motion and vote for the selection. Now, what I was just referring to, if you go to number 12, on the next page where it says department updates. Recreation division updates, it's really more information than anything. It is an opportunity for you to ask questions, but there's nothing to make a motion. Okay, let's go to number 7. So back on the orientation, we're almost done. Role of the chair. So we currently have the vice chair acting as the chair because the previous chair, she turned out. She served 8 years on commission. She's actually now planning commission. So we didn't have a chair. So if the chair is not present, then then the vice chair, whose sole role is to basically serve as the chair when the chair is not present, which is exactly what Vice Chair Graham is doing. So their focus is to lead the meeting and also preserve order. Too many people are talking at once. There's a reason why that gap is. Also, oftentimes the chair will ask, like, look at the agenda 3 days before it's ready to go print, say, hey, is everything look good? And then they'll say, oh, can we add this or can we move this? and that's fine. Now, there's some things where it has to be on a meeting agenda, because again, there's a time sensitivity to it. So sometimes there's a project. It needs to get to city council by this date, but before it can get to city council, it needs to be reviewed by the Parks and Recreation Commission. So there's some flexibility and sometimes if there's too many items on the agenda, then I may say, you know what, actually, you're gonna have to hold off on this item until the next. I already talked about the vice chair, city email. You all have a city email account, new commissioners. Hopefully you have all activated it. If you haven't and you're having trouble, let me know and I'll work with you to make sure that you can use it. Basically, whenever you are talking about Parks and Recreation Commission with regards to your email, you should be using your city email, not your personal email. The reason why is that there's something called the public records, which means basically if someone wants to get access to something about Parks and Recreation and they essentially submit a request, and you've been using your personal email, depending on what the situation is, there's a possibility that whatever pertains to Parks and Recreation, but it's within your personal email, you may be required to provide. So the best practice is to stick to using your city email for anything related to City of Gilroy business, which in your case would be Parks and Recreation. On the flip side, you do not want to use the email for personal business, because essentially at any given moment, it could be available for anyone, either within the city, or if someone again wants to submit a request for public records, it could be made available to the public. So keep that in mind when you are sending emails, that there's always that potential that it could be available to the public. That is it. All right. With any other questions? Okay, like I said, new commissioners, it's a lot of information. We've got a lot on the agenda tonight. If you want to have a follow-up meeting with me, that's fine. We can set up a time, you can hit my office and go over something in more detail. Okay. Madam Vice Chair.
Excuse me? Oh. You'll have to bear with me again. What page? Take this. Give me your paper. So we're on new business, selection of the chair and vice chair of Parks and Recreation Commission.
Okay, so I'm going to do the staff report for that.
Thank you, Adam.
So at the beginning of the calendar year, Parks and Recreation Commission, they're looking to select the chair and vice chair to serve for a 1-year term. So normally this would be done in January, but since the previous commission wanted to wait for the new commissioners to come, they decided to delay this item until tonight's meeting. Anyways, so I already talked about the function of the chair, which is essentially to run the meeting. As the vice chair is doing, when the chair is not present, then the vice chair will run. Commissioners can nominate one another. They can even nominate themselves. In order to be selected, a commissioner needs to receive a majority of the commission's vote, or the most votes among those present. So, for example, when we had only 4 commissioners, it would have required that they get everyone's, but because there were only 4, they just need to get a majority. In any event, so 2024, the previous chair was Pat Benson. Mentioned it is no longer on this commission. She turned out, and the vice chair is, I should say, Terry. So this will take effect after tonight's meeting. So the vice chair will continue to run the meeting, and then starting in March, the new chair will. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over. actually, I think are there any questions before we open it up for public?
Any questions?
Trying to ask.
Is there any public comment? Anybody like to stand up and talk? No?
Big bang. These meetings already move on.
You know, it's not, sorry, it's not relevant to what we're talking about right now. But I will tell you is that the meetings are available. Not live, but afterwards, online, yeah, on the city's YouTube channel.
Any other public comment? No? Okay, so possible action, discuss a motion to vote on the commission's budget request.
No.
Oh, what are we doing?
So now you're accepting
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wants to nominate someone? Is there anyone who wants to nominate themselves?
I would like to nominate Luis for chair, if he accepts. I do know for a fact from information that you've been serving here quite a bit, so you could lead us into the year.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nay?
Aye.
Any nays?
Wait, hold on, hold.
Come on, you gotta keep up with me here.
Is there anyone else?
Yeah.
That wants to nominate someone or themselves for chair?
And it can only be within this area. So is there anybody else that wants to nominate anybody else? Anybody wants to take this role? No? Okay, so keep me going, Adam.
Okay, so vice chair, do you want to do two separate votes or do you want to just do one vote altogether?
How is that gonna change? Yeah,
Do you want them to vote chair right now and then vice chair next, or do you want?
sure, yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Yeah. So I move that we have a motion to vote on a chair at this point. Okay,
Yes,
and can we just take the votes openly?
well.
And how do we go about this?
I would say, is there anyone else who wants to be nominated? Okay, so the nomination process is closed, so now we already have a nomination for Commissioner Ramirez. So Vice Chair, do you want to say all those in favor of?
All those in favor of having Luis Ramirez
Aye.
our chair,
As chair?
as our chair?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, then that passes.
There's some trouble.
Good.
It's Commissioner Ramirez is the Parks and Recreation Commission Chair, starting after this.
Say what?
Okay, it's 2025. Okay, so next is Vice Chair.
Is there anyone here?
I would like to nominate Javier Martinez, as he is not that age matters, but the youngest grown in the group that maybe one day lead the group down the years. Maybe it's a stepping stone for him to become a public servant within the city. So I nominate Javier Martinez if he accepts.
Okay,
I second that.
all in favor?
Is there
Any-
anyone else who wants to nominate themselves or someone else for Vice Chair?
Is there anybody else that wants to nominate themselves? Or someone else here? Anybody? No? No, not this time. No,
Okay,
so we've nominated him already.
yes, so
All those in favor of Javier becoming the chair,
Vice Chair.
vice chair? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay,
Okay, so it looks like
All
the
in
motion
favor?
passes 7-0-0. Okay, so congratulations to the new chair and vice chair.
Okay, Javier. Okay. We have 10.2, City of Gilroy fiscal year 2026-27 budget development. Adam, that's you going.
Okay, so if you go to the next staff report in your package, This is City of Gilroy's fiscal year 26-27 budget development. Okay, so the city of Gilroy prepares its budget on a 2-year cycle. So the last time this commission communicated this item was about 2 years ago. The city's fiscal year begins on July 1 each year and it ends on June 30th of the following year. For example, the current fiscal year commenced on July 1, 2004, and it will end this June 2025. The city is currently in its second and final budget year from the previous budget cycle as staff prepares the budget proposal for city council. The city boards and commissions are being provided the opportunity to submit budget requests for consideration of inclusion in the proposed and potentially adopted city budget. So if you had a chance to review your packet in advance, you would have seen that there was a letter from the city administrator. Basically, he is requesting that, he, by the way, provided this to all of the commissions, not just for Parks and Rec. But he would like the Parks and Rec Commission to identify and provide to commission consensus, right? We talked about how we find consensus by getting a majority of votes to support. For the budget request for fiscal years 25, 26, and 26, 27, according to the letter, the budget request should include the following information: a description of the item, the justification for the request, and how it fits within your board commission work. So it's really important that it sticks or it's pertinent to Parks and Recreation. It should not be something that's not relevant to this board or commission. And an estimated cost of the request, including any revenue source. So what I also included was the previous requests from this commission from 2 years ago to kind of give you an idea of what it looked like. Commissioner Ramirez, Commissioner Graham, I believe were on the commission during this process. Sure, Commissioner Bozo, you were involved. So the commission had requested, essentially, if you go to this piece in this letter in your packet, it's basically an explanation of the need for improvements to the current dog parks. And it actually specifically talks about which items the commission would like to see, and it also provides an estimated cost. This was not done at just a given meeting. There, if you recall, committee meetings outside of the regular meeting, where not 4 of you, but I think it was only 2 or 3 of you, because we didn't want to violate the quorum, met and discussed and analyzed. And also there was a commissioner who even did his own research to find out how much these items would cost and what would make the most sense. He even went to the dog park and asked dog park users, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? So a lot of due diligence was done. This was submitted. Unfortunately, it was not approved, but it was a good practice for the commission. And this is essentially what you want to get to, because you want to provide thorough, condensed, page-long memo of what it is that you are requesting. Now, the examples of possible requests that might receive funding, and I use this example because it has been approved from other commissions. The one that tends to, I should say, often get approved is training. So there is something called the California Parks and Recreation Society. It is a professional association that John and I are members of. They also have information for commissions, and they hold a conference statewide every year. So every city, I won't say every city, but many cities send their Parks and Recreation Commission or Parks and Recreation professionals, as well as many members of their own commissions, to these conferences. It might be in LA, it might be in San Diego, it might be in Sacramento. It's unfortunately rarely in the Bay Area. But it's a really good opportunity to, first of all, you meet other people who do exactly what you're doing, they're facing the same issues that you're dealing with here. You're going to learn so much that it's almost that feels overwhelming. But it's only 3 or 4 days. It would require a hotel stay, transportation, maybe even a flight. There's per diem available, and that would be covered through this council request, this budget request. We did this recently, so also the liaison for the library commission. They had done exactly this. They sent someone to the American Library Association's conference, which is held throughout the country, but this past year it was held, I think it was in San Diego. And so we sent a commissioner down there. We covered her registration fee, covered her meals, hotel, and flight. And she came back and reported back on all of her findings. And now that commission is incorporating some of those findings into their work. So there's a lot of value to these trainings. You'll learn there's so much to parks and recreation beyond what is even just in Gilroy. And so it just made you a more well-rounded, more informative commissioner. So that would be an example. Another example might be you might want to. So, for example, a couple of you mentioned how we want to provide more services, more programming to underprivileged youth here in Gilroy. You may be aware that there is a youth scholarship fund here through the Recreation Division, which provides funding for youth who meet certain, or households who meet a certain income eligibility requirement. And if they meet that, then they are eligible to have a credit applied toward a program. For example, if you wanted to sign up for a dance class, say the dance class costs $100, $50 of it would be covered through the youth scholarship fund, and they would have additional monies to apply toward another class if they so chose. So right now the fund has X amount of dollars in it. You could, as commission, want to spend time, resources, or even request more funds to raise more money for the youth scholarship. So right now, for example, it caps out at $150 per child within a house. So if you have 3 kids, you get $150 for each child that can be applied toward class. Now, some classes cost $300 or $400. So in one fell swoop, all of the credit will be utilized. So if you have more, if there's more funding available, we could raise the cap, which is, like I said, currently $150. So that's another thing that the commission may want to look into. Yes.
Will those scholarships only be applicable for your recreational programs?
Correct. So there's certain eligibility. I talked about income eligibility. They have to also be a Gilroy resident. So they may live in Gilroy, but if they don't live within city limits, then they wouldn't be eligible. So those are just a couple of examples. There is one thing to note, is you don't have to make a final decision. This is not due until March 28th. Your next meeting is before March 28th. So you could deliberate tonight, you can do some research in the interim, and then we can talk about it at your next meeting and come to a consensus. Or you could possibly determine it tonight. Even how much is in the meeting packet, I don't know if it's realistic. All in agreement, and it's something quite simple to determine what it is. We can move forward with that. But otherwise, you have the luxury of having one more meeting to determine what that item or items will be. Okay, so before we go to public comment, are there any questions? Okay, not expressing your opinion yet, just questions.
Just for the sake of the group, is dollar limits involved? I mean, the last one we did was 50,000. I think we actually asked for 100,000 and ended up with something less than that. So I'm just trying to get a sense, if you have any sense, what that budget number could be.
So if you read the letter carefully, there's no dollar mentioned. But I think if you are asking for something, well, I shouldn't say that, because if it's something that the city is already looking at, it may expedite the process with that particular project or with that, whatever it might be. So, don't be dissuaded by that. I am here to kind of guide you, and I may suggest like that's highly unlikely, certainly submit it, but don't presume that it's going to be true. Because by the way, it's not going to go straight to city council, it's going to go to the city administrator, who's going to then determine whether or not it will be submitted to city council.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
Chair, can I
if I
make one comment on this?
Yes.
I don't know if this is the right context to talk about what the CIP budget is. We have new board members, how the budgeting process works for Gilroy. The amount of money gets allocated to Parks and Rec is a set number. I think this comes out of a separate budget, I believe, and it's, I don't know where that money comes from, but there's also a CIP budget. Could you just talk a little bit about that to get our new members a little bit better acquainted with that?
yeah, and I'll try to do this, a general overview, because I don't want to get too much into the weeds here. There is, as Commissioner Ramirez said, there is something called the Capital Improvement Project budget. And basically, these are projects that essentially are things like, for example, a new roof on the senior center, or a new playground. These are usually big ticket items that are strategically placed so that when something breaks down, the city's already allocated funding for these projects, and then we can move forward with approving them. Now, you don't have the approval power to determine what's going to be in the CIP. And it's not just Parks and Rec. There's stuff for water, there's stuff for police, there's stuff for fire. But you will just be focused on the Parks and Recreation elements. So, for example, I mentioned actually last month, I think it was, there was a project that was brought forward by the Public Works Department for restroom facility on the ranch side at Christmas Hill Park, and that is part of the CIP project. So the commission was asked, do you support this CIP project? And the commission, I think it was unanimous, supported that project. I forgot the exact amount of it, but
400,000.
was it 400,000? Yes, the items can get quite expensive. There are CIP projects that range anywhere. I don't know what the minimum is.
Minimum is 25,000, so
Yeah.
So current CIP projects, like that are already funded, can we change those? Or like, hey, like we also want to do this?
So the commission doesn't have to change it. You have, what your power is a recommendation. And the council will see that recommendation, and they'll either adhere to it or they won't. But at the end of the day, you are an advisory body, so you don't have the power to change what's already been funded, what's not being funded. You will be asked, and I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be at the next meeting. Someone from public, and I'm looking at John here, who's on the park side. Most of the CIP projects are coming through parks. I'm recreation, so I'm gonna be leaning on John to help me out. But basically, is someone from his department will be coming to present the list of the CIP projects that have to do with parks and recreation. And we'll be looking for your recommendation. Specifically, what are those projects? I don't have the list in front of me at this time, but again, someone from his department for this upcoming budget process will be coming to a future meeting, and it will be on the agenda, and you'll have an opportunity to weigh in on those items.
So do the recommendations that we provide also go through the city administrator before they're passed on to city council, or is it correct?
What you're talking about for CIP?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything will go through the city administrator before it goes to the city council.
So how does he determine what's shared with city council and what is?
That's a really good question. So I think he. I don't know if I should answer it without him actually being here because I can't tell you exactly what his thought process is. There is a methodical process to it. What are the most urgent needs? Costs certainly play a role. Also in terms of what has the council been, is it part of the council priorities? Does it fit within one of the priorities that the council is focused? So there are a variety of factors. It's not arbitrary, I can tell you. And also, sometimes there's something where there's like a revenue source to help cover the expense. So oftentimes, a lot of projects through, for example, water, which is self-funded, will get approved because it will get paid for through fees, right? Whereas Parks and Recreation, that's not going to be the case.
So can we ask him sometime how he decides this?
Yeah, we can. But for the sake of this, I want to focus on this. So are there any other questions before you turn it over to public comment?
People have any questions? I think there's so much information right now at this point that we just need to like, just kind of let it soak in, and then we'll have time next meeting to talk about this again, or you'll have further information, and you have, you're asking great questions, and, I think that that's a good thing. We're not just stamping everything.
Okay, so we do have several public comments for this.
So with that, okay.
Would you like to give speakers 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
Which, was that a 3? Let's go with
It's up
3.
to you, it's up to you.
That's fine, because then, people can finish off. 2 minutes doesn't last all the time.
So
Do you have,
at the 3-minute mark, I will cut you off, just be aware. Okay. so
Do you have-
for public comment?
I am, do you have the names or am I?
I have.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know, how many people are good? Can I ask how many people are speaking? Can I do that? Oh, you're all speaking, and they don't mind that you go first? Okay.
Should you do 3 minutes?
3 minutes can get on, yeah, because 2 minutes, we're gonna go with 2 minutes,
3 minutes just to preface what is.
and then the other people will what?
Somebody else yield,
Okay, just, yep, okay,
Uh,
all right, 3 minutes,
and somebody else yield their time to give you an extra minute, that's possible. So at the end of those 2 minutes, whoever wants to yield their at least 1 more minute can do so. Is that possible?
yeah, we'll give it a try.
Sure, it's up to you, Chair.
No, it's 3 minutes per person or me and then to give me some time just to give
Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Are there more than 6
So,
speakers?
20
No,
minutes.
maybe. Say, will you, I can cover a lot of what needs to be done.
I know, I'm looking at you, you look at me,
My recommendation is be consistent.
yeah, that everybody has that. So what I'm hearing is, if we're gonna go 3 minutes, but you don't need the 3 minutes, then the next person can come up and speak, and that would. If it fills that time, that 3 minutes, then we'll move on, is that fine? But you're saying you think you're gonna be able to. Give everybody information they need, is that correct? I think we just need to do this, and then we can see where we're gonna go.
Okay, so where do we?
I don't know.
So we land on 2 minutes and
2
somebody
minutes.
else might yield their time.
Yeah,
She doesn't.
well, she's gonna be the focus speaker, so I'm thinking 3 minutes should be her.
Everybody.
And you're not with that?
wanna be
Okay, 2
consistent.
minutes, all right, so, and everybody else will be 2 minutes, okay, so they're schooling me through here. Okay, so who's going to talk? Yes,
She 2 minutes and then next.
Somebody else will need to yield for at least 1 more minute. Yeah, we already discussed that.
yes,
That's several people will yield for time. But this is Cheryl. Did you call?
Yeah, do you wanna,
what was your name?
Cheryl?
Okay,
20-year resident. And I have worked for the city of Gilroy as a grant management, so I'm familiar with how the city works, and I'm also, I've been with, public health for 20 years, so I'm familiar with local state government. I'm here to talk about specifically permanent, public, dedicated pickleball courts in Gilroy. 3 years ago, I came in front of the city council to talk about pickleball and its importance, and it was a different time then. We had proposed that Sunrise be the park where pickleball should be people should be able to play there. So we have temporary courts there. Many of us play there now. But specifically, we have a donor who wants to donate $25,000 to $50,000 to resurface the 6 courts. The 2 tennis courts would be 6 pickleball courts. That would include nets, the resurfacing, the bathrooms, the windscreen, and the lights. But when we met with Carol Marks, as well as Jimmy Forbes, and also Mayor Greg Bledsoe, we talked about the possibility of not only having community support, but also the money that is allocated through rep, as well as CIP funding, to be able to do this as a community. Because pickleball is important, it is a priority, but for so long, you have heard from many of our folks who live here in Gilroy, as well as neighboring communities like Morgan Hill, San Juan, and so forth. So we're dedicated courts. I know the commission has talked about other possibilities for locations and to go bigger, but there was no funding attached. There is funding attached to this proposal for Sunrise, including community support, including donors, and we have talked to City Council, Carol Marks, to Mayor Greg Bledsoe, and to Jimmy Forbes about this already. So
okay,
that's
so, okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Okay, I'm just gonna read what I have.
Okay.
Katie Zollinger.
my husband and I are well, it's here. And our boys actually introduced us to. And so we not only want this for ourselves, we really feel like our community is awesome. And we love it here. And there's already so many great things happening in our community. And I think this just adds one more great thing and possibility, not just for us, but for you. We're able to afford our own nets, set them up, but a lot of you can't, and they don't have that ability. And so having permanent courts that's then you open it up for opportunities for you to have another thing to play out.
Okay, Carrie Loesch.
Thank you for bringing this up tonight. Really do appreciate it and for your service. I'm gonna back onto what Katie had said. There's many times that people show up to Sunrise. In fact, we have groups that play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, play in the morning 3 hours on average. And we also have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday afternoon groups that are coming to Sunrise. We have tons of people that are showing up. We will have on average 8 adults all the way up to 25, 30 waiting. And that's just that one setting at those appointed times. I have shown that multiple times. There are kids out there, other families trying to play off of the tennis courts. So us, a handful of us, we have purchased our own pickleball nets. We pull them out of the park, share the courts, we even let them play off of our courts. We even try to teach them how to play. We've had 2 kids in there, homeschool kids that have been about 18 years old, and we have players all the way up to 70, 75. I'm new to the sport. I've been playing about 2-3 years. We started playing in our church in town inside the gym. That's all the place that we love. And then Sunrise was developed. I have to say, for very many years outside of kids, this has been the greatest opportunity for me to meet
members in the community. I have met so many, I can tell you right now, 20 names that I never have met. With this opportunity for sport. It has really provided an opportunity with my kids all grown now. To be able to, one, get the exercise and the physical. I'm still amazed that these 6-7 year olds out here playing and they're kicking my butt, you know? But the connection between the young and the older group and we're just all coming together, it really has to not like. And I'm really truly grateful. I really hope that we can find a spot. We can go to.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna. Watch this thing, Vijay,
Jay Mandal,
yes,
Vijay Mandal. Congratulations to business chair and what say. So I'm very new resident of Kittur. It's been 6 months here. Been in Santa Clara for the past 10 years, and I really love Kittur. I started knowing this city and the forest and everything. So I know very one or two people here, but I know like 20-30 people in more than till now. Even though I live in Kittur, I know more people there because I fall in love with pickleball sport. I started going more than people play more often. So like that is the only area I feel like city is missing here. So when I look like the pickleball sport is so much growing around the nation, and the best thing about this is like basically it has a social engagement between all age groups. It doesn't matter you are like 10 years old or like 8 years old. You get along and you just start playing. That's the best sport. I didn't see any other sport has that kind of a social engagement. So I started going more than to just play pickleball. I started meeting more people and talking, but I hate to spend more time on other skill and spend my money for other things like. So I definitely looking forward to have all course in my ski at one point, and I really request commission to prioritize pickleball facilities within the city, and that would definitely change a lot of things in the city. It can attract local visitors, even neighborhood like city visitors, for any recreation play or tournaments, stuff like that. So that's all I have to say. And I'm really looking forward to have something soon. And I yield my time to my. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, Roshan, sorry, could you come a little closer so the camera can pick you up?
Playing draw Russia and kickball at a friend's house. I would love to be able to play in the neighborhood, sunrise. It is amazing how the age we could. Because we joined our play Wheeler and it's good. And I know that sunrise just lined up. Meet your friend, it's so social. It's a great exercise and I live close to Aurora Park and I heard there's some chance that they could turn those tennis courts into it. There's a big way of lifting up the concrete. I know there's a problem with trees, but I think that would be a great spot to have influence. If possible. And if we want to be one of the I know that talk with golf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, my name is Matt Belwamini. Sam, remember you looked at my hat?
Yeah.
We were at Pineapple Chitlins, I don't know, a month ago.
Yes.
You're like, what's the hub? And we just happened to have dinner, my wife and your wife, and I said, well, it's a pickleball club up in San Jose. It's 21 indoor courts. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's where the old Fry's used to be on Hamilton and San Jose. If you really want to see the growth for this sport, they'll let you in for free. Go to the front desk, hey, put Parks and Rec from Gilray. We just want to see what this whole hubbub is about. I joined the club. I'm a really serious player. I have 3 national medals from the nationals. When COVID started, I gave a racquetball, I was like, hey, let's play pickleball, and somebody invited me, and like, this is for old people, I'm like, no. We got really good, started going to the nationals, I won the nationals my first year in singles, I got a second place in the doubles the following year, and then the third place, I keep getting worse as I go on, but first, second, third, not too bad. But, anyway, I know the folks who want to donate the money, Sunrise, it is great, we played there a lot initially, but sometimes we go there and there's some guys hitting tennis balls, and we have to wait, because we're sharing it. Los Animas had like 10 or 11 courts that are underutilized, right? So when we first started playing, we were playing under the lights at Los Animas. We kind of taped up some lines. It was great. And there was some hubbub about that. I think remember Blue Circle, we kind of were talking about that. So we don't have any place to play once it gets dark. 4:35 o'clock, we can't see the ball anymore. We're hitting people on it. But we really need lights at Sunrise. We'd love to have 6 dedicated courts where it's just there. Many of us, again, we're driving all the way to San Jose. San Jose has 14 parks and courts. Gilroy really kind of has the one Sunrise, and it's not even, we painted those lines at Sunrise. So if you ever go to a gym, right, there's badminton lines, there's volleyball lines, there's basketball lines. We're trying to play pickleball. It's like, which line is it? I don't know, I can't see the ball. But we really would love for you guys to support it. We have the money. It would be great to have a bathroom out there. I just can't understand why that's 400,000 for a bathroom at Christmas Hill Park. But
That's it.
if I can,
Thank you.
I can take one line. The people are talking about bowling in the 50s or 60s, where husband and wife get funny shirts, you go bowling and you meet people, and then you go have a drink and have you met friends. Like so many people have said, pickleball is it's crazy. Because I can play with my wife, not to sports, and we can have fun. It's like bowling back in the 50s
See,
with
Matt,
Thank you.
so if someone stands up and says, no, I yield my time, then
Okay.
you can keep talking.
Yes.
Turn it.
I think that was all I needed to say.
Okay, do you want to, Chan, bring in your? Carol Gonzalez?
I yield.
Okay, so she's been a resident of Gilroy for 42 years. Speak about that time. And so I recently retired last 2 years. I'm looking for something fun to do, and I've been playing the league this year. I'm getting better every time. It's so much fun. The range is, like they said, from young children to we have that. It's just fun in this, kids are summer, everybody gets along. You can go out, never have picked up a rack and say, I knew I was. Everybody's going to share. It's so fun. It's just been such a fun sport, and I really think it would be great for Gilroy. To this afternoon, I did go to Morgan Hill, and there was so many families out there. There was, some of the really serious players, and there's lots of families, and just everybody was laughing. But again, driving to Morgan Hill, staying here. And I hope we'll have to do.
Thank you.
Linda Clark? Do you want to yield it? Okay. Was that to Rob? Wait, hold on a sec. So Linda. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Dolores Tanaka. So, I just want to say, we think we have 16 parks here. Don't know how many more we don't have, but. And, this activity going on, showing there and there were one of these parks. We play at Sunrise, but that's the biggest park there that has lines. So I bring my own net, there's times when we're not there, people show up. On that. They end up playing with the nets that are for tennis. And so, yeah, so just wanted to throw that in, that we need to step up in here and get something going here and get. Nice pickleball course, I think this, opened up. Six lines of really, yeah. And we get lines.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any more speaker cards. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, they look at my minutes, so. Again, everybody keeps referring Morgan Hill. I used to live in Morgan Hill. I'm here now, we get a little more land. They got it done in like 9 months or a year. We've been talking about this with you now for like 3 years. And I don't know where the budget is. Again, if we already have 50,000, I built the court personally with a friend that, so I know about her, but we had to dig dirt and everything. We already have the courts. We need to just surface it and put the nets in. The nets are about $1,500 each, I'm 6, so $10,000 there. I'd like for you guys to kind of commit to a time. I mean, maybe before the summer, we could get this done. I know the guy who does all the San Jose State courts. He does all the courts, all the country clubs. He's super reasonable. He's just gonna come over, surface it, paint some lines, put some holes in there, right? The posts so you can't be line. They're heavy duty with the cable, they're not just a cheap little nets that we set up that blow over the wind. So I don't even know. Yes.
Well, we're just asking, because when we spoke to Jimmy Forbes and to Carol Marks, as well as Mayor Greg Botso, they said, well, if the community is willing to put 25 to 50 grand into this, then the city, I mean, it's city property, lights are more expensive and so are bathrooms. So that's what we're asking for you all to support, because we're already bringing money to the table. So you're having bang for your buck. Regarding scholarships and other things, Sam and I have worked many, many years together for scholarships with young Gilroy residents. So there are other communities, other charities that work for scholarships, and we would be happy to share that information with you. So when I'm asking for bang for the buck, this is it, because there are other groups that already do.
That's all we're saying. We'd love to see something happen before the summer, right? So we can play. They're out at 6 p.m. Lights would be wonderful. We could probably have 6 lights, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 around the deal. I put lights in my place, and it was about $2,500 per light. 6, about 12,000. We're giving you 50. If you can give us another 20, it'd be beautiful. I got no more to say. But again, we love your support. It's good for the community. And let's start bringing everybody together. Thank you.
Do you have any other speak?
If I had a specific question for the general group, could I ask?
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's only a yes or no question, just for our knowledge.
Is there anyone else who's spoken yet that would like to speak on this topic? It doesn't just have to be about pickleball, it can be anything related to the budget development.
I think there's someone in the back there.
Okay, can you come up? I'm sorry, what's your name?
Well, I'm so sorry to say it's not, it doesn't have to be about pickleball. Football, I moved here and we've been playing football almost since last 5 years. And we were in San Jose, we had people coming from Gilroy to San Jose, and we were like, wow, what kind of pain is this that you have to drive almost 45 minutes just to play? And now, unfortunately, we are going through that pain. So we want, and pickleball is being added to the Olympics. Every other people who don't even know anything about it, they know what pickleball is, and unfortunately, the device is missing the most needed sports that anyone can play. And I like that one of them mentioned that the pickleball is the game that anyone can play starting from 5 years. So that just brings all the different generation together, and it's a socializing, plus it's helping the society with the mental and physical health. So we need to have what's
Huge.
anger to bring all the generations.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Do you have any? No more names? Okay, at this point,
It's that's the commission, once public comment is closed. We can have a discussion if you'd like, you can make a motion to table, you can make a proposal if you'd like.
so how boisterous can we get as we're delivering information at this table?
Madam Chair, Vice Chair, I would recommend maybe ask each commissioner if they have anything to say, just go down.
Okay, why don't we,
go.
is that okay with everybody else? I mean, I know I have questions, but I think everybody else has to, even the new people here, just to get us going. So Jesse, do you have any comments?
Start Javier, I just wanna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm new to all this. and I'm just
Sure.
on-
Javier, do you have any, or did somebody else want to say? You want to go ahead and start for him?
Well,
Okay,
I thank you for coming out. It shows that you have a lot of passion for the sport. I have a lot of passion for a lot of things and I completely hear you. I would like to see what we could do, from my own opinion. I did have one question, if I'm able to ask right now, and it's just a simple yes or no. From the leader of the group, I would say. Do you guys have an organized club, since you guys are so many, that represents you? Are you guys looking into organizing yourselves? Because as an organization, you guys have the passion for it. You guys could bring in a lot of money into the city, especially, what's your name? I'm sorry. Cheryl, you are a grant writer and you could help maybe purchase a site. And I know I'm getting too much.
yeah,
But
okay.
that is just kind of like my comments, my opinion, and I hear you loud and clear. If anybody else wants.
Just one second,
No.
just.
It was already answered. It was
Yeah.
a yes and no kind of
Okay.
thing.
So, is there anybody
I'd
else?
like to make some
Okay, Luis, okay,
I really appreciate your time. I do feel personally that we're due for pickleball. I can tell you there's demand for Parks and Rec and other services. The new thing that I heard tonight that I haven't heard in the last year and a half is that you guys bring some money. You brought some money in. You had a meeting with Jimmy, with the mayor, and what's the third person? And with Carol. So my standing city council person, and from what I heard you tell me, they told you there's a possibility. That is news to us.
Yeah.
It's news to me at least. So we have a limited amount of resources that we're gonna be able to ask for city council. We have other people in the community could use money for, you name it. Scholarships is one, but I know the dog park people, I get emails all the time from dog park people. So there's competing interest for the limited dollars that we have. I do think we need a pickleball court. If there's momentum with city council, I'm willing to explore that and sit down with them. I don't think we can come up with something tonight, but I'm willing to sit down with the mayor and with city council people, see what they have to say. And
thank
see
you,
if we can come up with some.
thank you.
So
Yeah.
I just at the budget meeting for the first budget meeting for city council last Wednesday. And it was like an ongoing joke of like, we need to get pickleball to the city. So they are interested.
Okay,
So it was that everyone was like,
okay.
everyone's like, oh yeah, I
think-
gotta get pickleball.
I think that for me to speak to this, I don't think that it's even an issue of whether we want pickleball or not. Everybody, I mean, it's just blossomed in terms of the sports. All of us older people seem to like it, but it goes to the younger people. And there has to be some kind of, I don't have a solution and I can't say, but I'm just saying, we hear what you're saying, and there has to be some point where Adam is going to direct us into where we can have these deeper discussions and what they look like. And then for me, thinking, bringing in people like you who already know where the courts are or where the courts are not. And we can't compare ourselves to Morgan Hill by any means. I get that. So I personally, like what, you don't even know personally, but we need to, can we put something on this agenda that we continue this conversation of some sort? Or what is our goal as the commission to resolve some of this?
Okay, so let me just backtrack here. So if you recall, you spent 2024 studying pickleball locations.
Mhm.
So when money was available, you have a list of the most suitable locations based on their current amenities. And that list, I believe, has already been provided to city council in terms of the top, I think it was, top 10 parks. Actually, I think it was maybe top
4.
5. Was it 4?
Yeah, it was the top 4 parks. It was Christmas Hill, Gilroy Sports, Christmas Hill Ranch Site, and Sunwell.
You didn't have San Isidro in there?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But in any event, so the commission has studied this very closely. In fact, it was very detailed in terms of what you went out to research, lightings, parking, whether it had restrooms or not. This item that you're talking about right now is not about pickleball. It's about what do you want to recommend based on the parameters of the letter that's included in this packet, what do you want to recommend to city council? Based again on the parameters, you could recommend pickleball courts, you could recommend something else, you know, in terms of what would you like the council to fund that's also, of course, pertinent to parks and recreation. So just keep that in mind. It's not a discussion solely about pickleball, it's a discussion about what you want to recommend for the next budget cycle. You can make a decision tonight, or you can table it until the next meeting, but we'll have to make a decision.
Unless anybody else has an opinion, I would like to table, motion to table.
Well, you know what, there's commissioners who haven't just
Yeah.
talked yet, but yes, when we get to this point, then you can.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay,
About the work plan of last year, the 24th. I don't know if we talked about this, and I kind of was
It's the
confused
next-
about why we didn't talk about that first, to be honest.
It's the next budget item. It's the next budget item, so let's focus on
Agenda.
the budget time.
and
Well, I think we need to put something in the budget for pickleball. I mean, people are here, pickleball.
And I got,
50,000 is not gonna
Oh,
last.
sorry,
just 1 second. And again, I'm gonna say, this is, yeah, it's just, it's. I was really passionate about this, get it, and we have only a small say in what's going on, and that's the discussion here, and it's up to Adam to keep this going. How do we get this energy going, I think is the question, and what is the end? The end goal, of course, is we have pickleball courts everywhere, if you will. But we need to figure out, and something that we have to ask as a commission, and Adam will start picking his brain. Where do we go from here? And this could be something that the commission later on in another 10 years is all proud of ourselves, because bam, we got something. We got a pickleball court here that's legit. So we need to talk to you on what's, and
50,000.
just a second. I understand, sir. Excuse me.
Rob, I'm gonna ask that you stop. I'm gonna ask that you stop.
Okay.
Up to public comment is open. Okay,
Yeah.
so let them deliberate. I wanna remind the commission is that, again, you're talking about budget development, right? It's not exclusive to one item. Also, Madam Vice Chair, there are other commissioners who have not spoken.
Yes. So let's go ahead.
I'm totally in favor.
In favor of,
Also, okay, wait. Have you contacted
No,
the
no, no.
school
wait, a
district?
minute, yeah, we're not,
Oh, I can't ask that question.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna start with Javier. Do you have a hook on, excuse me? Yeah,
Okay,
just,
say it this way,
let's stay,
I want to take a couple of steps back. I feel like there's a lot.
I'm not finished.
okay, I know, but I pointed at Javier before.
Okay,
I
okay.
said, yeah,
Fine.
so, yeah, go ahead, Javier.
Would you like to?
No, that's all right.
I personally would like to kind of table this discussion after everyone's given a chance to speak. There's a lot. There's definitely a lot of needs in the city, and we definitely hear you. I would almost just want to take a step back just to kind of make sure we're being equitable in the decisions moving forward. So I get it. I love it. I love the idea. I'm passionate with park staff. But at the same time, I just don't want us to jump into something. I think, like Adam said, it's not specifically about pickleball, but it's about the whole kind of budget itself. But I love it. I love that you guys are here. I love camaraderie. And that.
Okay, thank you. Forgot your name. So you, no discussion?
So
Iris,
what-
Huh?
So Sam, did you want to finish your
Did you
thought?
wanna, yeah, we're gonna get to you.
So Chairman Ramirez and I went to the middle school. And we looked at the 12 brand new football courts. We know that they can't be used during the day because school is in session. But it seems to me like I go back in Park and Recreation Commission back 20 years, and we used to work very closely with the school district. So I want to see that $25,000 to $50,000 used for pickleball courts, but I also want to see us get the use of those courts. And I would think that people would be using them if there was opportunity for them to use it. So that means there probably needs staff time and things like that. to happen. So when we bring this up again, I hope we do bring it up again, then I'd like us to be able to, Adam, under your guidance, to see what we can do on things like that. Let's not just zero in on the one court, which sounds terrific. Let's zero in on how we can make money available for the use of the courts at the new middle school.
And
Thanks.
I feel like the
Okay.
problem with the middle school courts is they're awesome and I'm all for joint use agreements. I feel like it's spelled out in the Parks and Rec work plan. So yeah, totally, but there's no lights there.
Here's the problem too. We're talking about the school district and the school district is not part of the city of Gilroy. So we have to be real careful when we say we're just gonna go over to a school and we're gonna play pickleball. It's not quite that easy because even when the kids are not in school, there are still activities going on after that class, after that school time.
I think I wanna go back to the.
I think we need to, yeah,
Go back,
regroup on
this is
this.
a budget discussion, I don't think anybody here is against pickleball, and I can see the passion, the fact that you raised the money. I have a personal interest in meeting with the city council myself, one by one, and see how we can move it forward personally. But from a budget standpoint, I don't think we can make any decisions tonight, I agree, we should probably table. I think we all need to discuss, even whether in subcommittee or a separate meeting, to figure out what can we reasonably put together that we
Yes.
can get through that we can assure ourselves of getting money for our parks and rec.
I feel like, so they were all on the same line. Now it's just that I'm not gonna use the word hindered, but I'm gonna use the word hindered by the ramifications of the city and what we have to do or what we're able to do with this school. And that's where you come in. And that's where we might perhaps have to call a meeting specific to this at some point, if that's possible.
So
That's
just,
what I'm asking. Yeah, go ahead.
just as far as, you know, the city council supporting this, when I was at the budget meeting last Wednesday, something that I picked up is the council was unanimously in agreement that they want economic development. And as a part of that, they want to beautify the city. And I went up and spoke and I said, hey, that's great because the Parks and Rec are able to do that. So I saw it, and I don't know how this works, Adam, but there was an unfunded CIP project for parks. It's improvement project named Parks Master Plan Project. Is that something you can bring into the budget? Like, hey, let's get a master parks plan. Cause it hasn't been done since 2002 or something, right? Like, and then we can see what the city wants.
You could request that as well. We would have to, again, identify a dollar amount of what would that cost. But that is something that the commission.
I think it was laid out already in the CIP. It was like
Happening.
22,000.
It's happening.
Might be able to copy over. I
Um,
mean, is that,
well, if it's in the CIP, we could suggest that you support that item being funded.
I mean, I think that's good. It hasn't been done since 2002. We all have, you know, different needs. The city wants new things.
I don't have a problem with that. I think again, then we have to talk about where are we gonna talk about this type of thing? Is this gonna be an agenda? Is this gonna be just us at a certain meeting, or is it gonna be
So-
open to the public? I think the public can feel that we understand what you want. We want it too. There's pickleball players and so.
Okay, so Vice Chair, just
Yes.
so I can set the parameters.
Thank you.
Okay, so you're talking about it tonight. You'll have one other opportunity at the next regular meeting to discuss it.
Okay,
I would suggest, like I said, written down the park master plan. There was, and I'll need some clarification, the money available for some middle school.
Yeah.
Whatever that might entail.
that's
Are there any other things you want to consider? And so when you come to the next meeting, you're not starting at one, you're already have made some inroads. It's really a matter of coming to a consensus.
Madam Vice Chair, may I suggest maybe we go around if there's any one particular item that people want to bring up next meeting, so we're more prepared, or
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we need to listen to each one of us individually, and then we can put something together. I don't think we're that far apart. What our discussion is gonna be like, or what our wants, needs. So how do we want to do this? Can we speak openly at this table about, or do we want to just look at pickleball first as the biggest issue, which is not? Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead,
before I know pickleball's been, desire in the community, as of late, maybe 2, 3 years. Now, has there been other, projects or proposals that have been presented to the Parks and Recreation that maybe hasn't been heard or maybe, considered?
That's a great question.
Pass that we could, look at our options on what we want to bring to the table.
See if maybe that
Yeah,
can
because
follow their.
for right now, it's pickleball, most definitely, and I love pickleball. I played the whole pickleball on a cruise, and she was like 80 years old, and she was my partner. It was phenomenal, man, great people. But I love the sport of pickleball, but I do want to, was there been other projects in the past that were presented to the parks?
I see what I can remember in the last 2 years that I've been serving was the dog park was a hot issue. That came before the group, very passionate group of people as well. They didn't raise any money, but we scraped together some money to make things happen at one of the parks. Not because we'd like to have it, but we were able to do something. That's the only thing that I can recall in the last couple of years. I didn't probably have more. But as far as organization and passionate, I mean, this is the compelling kind of thing, and it's getting me to say maybe this becomes our priority. I'm not committing to it right now, but it's on. I can't on the thing. We got new members here. They're just still trying to figure out what's going on and what they're passionate about. So I think we need to all kind of soak this in a little bit and maybe.
Okay, so I think as Vice Chair Graham alluded to, for the sake of time, do you want to have each commissioner just recommend at least one item to consider? And if it's the same item, that's okay. And then again, at your next meeting, you narrow it down, find consensus.
I think so. We've got, just because people are just new to this, doesn't mean that they don't have some great ideas. So I think that would be good. And if we don't have anything to say, that's fine. And yes, and then bring it to the next meeting. We really need to hammer this out. We're probably one of the only cities, if I might, I don't know who else around us has pickleball, I'm sure, ever. We're the only people that don't have pickleball, I don't know. But yeah, so how can we do this? We're just gonna ask some pointed questions. What are people talking about? What are we gonna talk? What is this about a pickleball discussion right now?
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's make that clear. That's right.
So
So this is a budget
I
issue.
I would suggest just asking each commissioner, what would you like to bring forth for this budget development discussion? And again, if it's a repeatable item, that's fine. If everyone has something different, that's fine. And then at your next meeting, you narrow it down and come to a consensus for your recommendation. Okay,
So who wants to lead that?
Vice Chair Graham, you can tell us, do you want to start? Do you want to have someone else start?
No, I want somebody else to start.
Do you want
Because
to go?
why don't we go ahead? Javier, do you have, so the question is, what are we discussing right now? We're discussing how
Oh,
the
no,
budget.
you're coming up with an item
Right,
or two for this specific request.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and start voicing my thoughts.
okay, Javier.
Definitely a lot to take in for the first meeting. But originally, why I elected to be on this committee is for park safety. So that's kind of my priority, is safety in our parks. That's what I'm passionate about. I want all parks to feel safe, equally, right? Across our city. So that's kind of all
Okay,
that's just kind of my why. I don't know if that necessarily answers the question as to motioning a specific one, but that's just kind of my
thank you.
lens, my perspective is park safety.
And that's something you put out there, so we can carry that along too, as we're discussing, is your importance is the park safety. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
Jorge.
Jorge?
I'm here also because I'm very passionate about one thing that has come up in my life recently, and it's soccer. Fact that we have no turf fields even though there are issues with turf fields in Santa Clara County, whether Santa Clara County wants to ban turf fields, that's a whole different story. But I go to San Jose, take my son 3 or 2 days a week to practice in a turf field because we have no turf. So if I'm being honest as a resident, not as necessarily here, voicing the overall best of Gilroy, is to have facilities for all members of our community to have a turf soccer field, dedicated soccer fields, just as possibly pickle,
Just for clarification, you say turf, you're talking like an all weather.
all wet surface. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's not,
Yeah.
yes, not,
Oh.
not.
Okay.
So, along with, Mr. Martinez's suggestion of safety, I am in real, I'm in favor of that as well, because it is a little scary at night to have our youth and our community members of any age to be out after a certain time. I know that the lights have to be paid for if we want certain lights to be on at certain facilities, which I think it's required because somebody has to pay for them, right? But coming back to where we're at right now, I like the idea of having safety priority. I would like to include soccer turf fields that are dedicated for soccer, and I am for also including or spearheading and or advising the council for pickle dedicated field.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, Sam,
$50,000 to be matched by the outside group that is saying that they have between $25,000 and $50,000, that we put that into a form of a recommendation. And also monies to include a staff time for people to work at the middle school on weekends. Because it's difficult to have it during the week, but let's start with weekends.
can you, clarify that, what you're looking at? From school to whatever,
I think Commissioner Bozo has mentioned this once before, so, the general public cannot access the pickleball courts at South Valley Middle School.
Right.
These would have to probably be prearranged
Yes,
between the city and the school district. In order to do that, you would need an attendant, so a paid staff person to be there
Yes.
to, ensure that the courts are handled well and they're not gonna be damaged, and the school's not gonna be damaged.
but
And I think he's asking for what would the cost be in order to open? The cost would be basically staff time.
and my thought is that's school district property, so that doesn't.
I think they might be not, we're not talking
So,
about whether or not.
I
this
just
is-
understand that,
it's
but
just-
I just wanna make sure we keep referring to it,
yeah.
the city and the school districts, I think they have to be two different
There
things.
is a long, excuse me,
Yeah.
there's a long history of association between the school district and the city of Gilroy.
It-
And if it's not there now, it needs to be reunited.
Oh, yeah, no,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
we do have a joint.
We do.
Actually accept agreements for these.
Okay.
So, and this would just be, an extension. But that is specific, and
Okay.
there can be a dollar amount if the commission is inclined to.
In terms
Yes.
of using the school facilities, like I think now, like the Rotary Club did like a fundraiser there. So that could be additional funding. We could put on like some type of event, we could raise money in addition to what they're matching. But I don't think it's a permanent solution, to be honest.
Yeah.
We need a longer term.
Yeah, I didn't mean it to be a permanent solution.
Totally.
I think it's two things that we're talking,
Yeah, I agree.
All right,
and we got a whole committee over here that'll help us with the money.
we already have money, okay, thank you, I'm gonna pass for now, yeah,
I'm very pleased that there's money coming from the community. I want to see the city match part, some, all, and put a dedicated pickleball court. But I'm also a public safety person, park safety person. We dealt with that a couple years ago. We had to shut down some gates to secure some areas on the San Dimas. I'd like to see from an equitable standpoint, all parks are secure, better lighting, all that sort of thing. So I'd like to see both those projects.
okay, thank you, yes.
So I agree with the community that I think pickleball needs to be a priority here. We're behind, to be honest, I think. You know, there's people that have brought funding, like there's other ideas, and I think we need to look at other cities, how they implemented these programs. I don't, Adam, is that something that the city does, or how do we research that?
Actually, it's easy enough to go online. Find out, you can reach out using your city email address, you can reach out to someone at the city of Morton Hill or at a different city and find out, you know, what were the steps taken to facilitate the implementation.
Do you know if the funding comes from the same places in all city? Like, I think it's my understanding that the Parks and Rec Commission or whatever funds comes from the general funds. Is that true across all cities? Do you know?
Every city operates differently.
Okay.
I'm gonna go away from the budget at this point. Yeah,
Oh,
Jesse,
I have.
you have a few more things?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have Jesse comment on anything they, you know.
Yeah, I too, I think, we're a little behind on the pickleball. I do believe that we need pickleball here in Gilroy, but also, you know, I would like to see, you know, not only, you know, it'd be at Sunrise or Los Alamos Christmas Hill, but to find out, you know, how much do we have in the budget and what we can do to bring, you know, possibly more things throughout the parks in different areas, whether it's San Ysidro Park or Los Animas, and bringing other things other than pickleball. It's more than just pickleball, but other things that we can get the communities out there to San Ysidro Park and make it a safe place, and or even Los Animas Park or even Christmas Hill. You know, there's a far side of Christmas Hill that's just kind of like abandoned. It's really not much on the far side from what I know. So finding out what's in the budget, what we can do to improve, you know, parts of all the parks, or not all the parks, but you know, Christmas Hill, San Diego, Los Alamos, and also,
Okay,
yeah, so that's my, like, what I would see.
okay, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, Emily, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so as part of, you know, overall park development, there is the item that I mentioned earlier, that it's unfunded, the master parks project plan. And I don't understand where they came up with that number of it cost.
I wasn't involved with it, but typically they probably someone contacted a consultant who normally would work on that and gave them a rough estimate. It would be based on the number of parks we have, the size of the population.
Gotcha. So as opposed to doing like a whole, and I don't know, because this is in the CIP, so it's like laid out already, but as opposed to doing like a whole city study implementation to cut down on cost, could we, you know, hire a consultant to do something more specific, like for football?
That could be your budget.
Yeah, is that, so does it need to be included in the CIP though? I don't understand.
Well, those are two different things. So a park master plan is covering everything about your city's parks. A pickleball study, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that would be something separate from administrative.
So, yeah, I think that's something we should maybe put in the agenda for the next meeting to agree upon. And I know that, you know, the last year they already decided on 4 possible locations, so I'm just curious, what's the next step, really?
And I would, and it sounds like that's really where we're stuck. I mean, we moved
Let me
forward.
just-
Yeah.
So the next step, actually, the way it was laid out is that the next step is really funding. So the commission has identified the locations, what makes these locations more suitable than other locations. And so then, but again, there's no, as of right now, no direct funding for these locations to happen. So that's really the next.
And who decides on funding, the city administrator, or like we?
No, so if it's over $100,000, it's gonna be to the city.
And, okay, so in the next meeting, we can be like, we want to find funding for this project.
Yeah, and that's
it,
exactly what you could do.
And then it goes to the city administrator, and the city administrator chooses if they want to share it or not.
It's not so much that he chooses whether to share it, it's more like what he recommended.
And if he recommended it, it would need to be part of.
It still doesn't mean that the council would approve it. It just means that it's his recommendation.
Okay.
Okay, so I have Were there any other additional items? Because I think, other than Terry, I have everyone's.
No,
Can you review what you've written down for the next?
Well, not for the agenda, but for this budget item.
Can you review what you?
Okay, so I've got park safety, I've got soccer turf, park safety, pickleball court, staff time at South Valley Middle School, for possible facility attendant. Pickleball court, park safety, pickleball court, master plan funding, pickleball study, pickleball improvements to Christmas Hill Park, Los Animas, San Ysidro Park, which is not very specific, so I'll have to talk to them. Was there anything else? Because we do need to move on. So it's 8 o'clock. Yes.
Just going to get them. You should have access to the cement. For less. If we do want to, you guys are looking. To get ideas through the CIP budget, especially the. Parks funded and funded budget, they I think there's about 6 or 7 projects that are unfunded in the CIP for parks, 7 of them covering lighting and park safety. As you mentioned, master plan and things like that, so be a good one to take the gander at.
The city website, right, John?
Adam, can you provide us?
I was gonna, that's
Adam
what
will
I'm,
share all
thank
that,
you.
because that's a
Yeah.
good suggestion, John.
That'd be-
That way we could kind of learn more about, not just since you were at the budget meeting, but we all got a little insight prior to our next meeting, so we could come here really prepared with that ammunition that they provided and really could be, let's put this all together and
Yeah.
provide that budget plan.
And just-
we're really
Just to
focusing on it.
remind the whole commission, I feel like we should be framing this budget request as economic development through city beautification, because that's everyone on the council was in agreement, that's what they want. So I feel like, that's.
Do you,
Okay,
can you send me that, the comment that you just made? I'll give you my email. Did you get what she said?
I did.
Okay.
I want to wrap up this.
Yeah.
It's Terry, did you have any items that you want to add?
No, not at this time. Well, this is just a silly little thing. What the people that have their parks and stuff like that, Pat's gone. I don't know.
That's on the agenda.
It is on the agenda. Okay, then no, I'm good to go. I obviously didn't.
Okay, so can we get a motion
I
to,
motion to table next meeting, or wait for to discuss it.
What is it on?
all those
In
in favor?
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay,
Okay, so the tabling for the next meeting passes 7-0. Can I request that we take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
that's fine.
Okay, so, Vice Chair Grant, can you call the meeting back to order?
Yes. I'd like to call the meeting back to order at 8:01. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? We don't have to do that. You know me, I don't know,
That's a,
Okay, good. Good. So, I'm holding. We have- Yeah, really page. Well, everything, okay, so we got that 10.3. Ray's got that. You too, me too. Yeah, 10.3 Parks and Recreation Commission. Work plan for the fiscal year 2026 and 27. Okay, and Adam, this is staff report from you. And then we'll go on to the public comment and possible actions.
okay, so also in the letter, it stated that not only are you recommending budget items, but you're also going to put forth your work plan for the next 2 years. So this is your opportunity to develop the work. Like the budget, you also have the next meeting, if you would like, to approve. The current work plan, I'm going to go through for our newer commissioners. I got you something in mind some of these items can be rolled over to your next one. So you won't necessarily be starting from scratch. Okay, so the first one is hosting Arbor. So this is something this commission does every year. They usually, I shouldn't say usually, it's been done on Arbor Day, which is actually in April. It's also been done in the fall, it's been done in the summer, it's been done in December. It can be done at any time. Arbor Day essentially maintains the Tree City USA designation, which the city of Gilroy has had since 1979. So in order to maintain being known as a tree city, you may have seen those signs. One of the requirements is to host Arbor Day. That's always been done by the Parks and Recreation Commission. This was something done last year, training opportunities for commission members, participating in webinars, conferences. The commission has done that where, for example, I'll get notification of a free webinar that has to do with something that would be of interest to you. So I would set up a time for 2 or 3 of you, because again, we don't want more than 3 of you to show up and come to the senior center, and you or even I sometimes would just watch the webinar and then kind of take that information somehow, bring it back to the commission, share it, and so.
What was that one you mentioned earlier that you were possibly travel for?
Oh, so that is called the California Parks and Recreation Society.
So would that maybe fall under category?
That would fall under that, yes. Now, that particular one, there is a fee attached to it. Sometimes the fee is like $25 or $50 for these webinars, or even for a conference. Vice Chair Graham attended a conference in Morgan Hill. I think it was like $40 per person. That's not something that you would have to get pre-approval through the budget process. Going to this conference that I was describing earlier, where there's a flight, a hotel, registration fee, meals, that would require approval through this budget development that we were just discussing. What I can do is send you a link to the upcoming conference, which I believe is next month, for California Parks and Recreation Society. And you can kind of see what's being offered and how much value you would find it, because you may want to bring that. You may want to make that one of your recommendations.
Is that the one that was in Morgan Hill last year?
No,
Is that a different?
that's a regional conference.
That's a regional.
That's just
Okay.
a South Bay Peninsula
Okay.
cities.
So this
one
one's
is
bigger.
statewide.
State, okay.
Yes. So I will send a link just so you can get an idea of what that entails.
I have a question. Do the work plan and the budget requests need to be in sync, or I know
Not necessarily in the sense like the items that you're requesting in the budget don't, if there aren't items requested for the budget, they don't have to necessarily, you can still have a work plan. Does that make sense? So like if you're requesting money for pickleball, but pickleball is your work plan, that's okay.
shouldn't it be though?
Not necessarily, because this commission has already studied pickleball. Like again, if you go back to that report, and I can even share with you the newer commissioners, the findings for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
that
can
would
be on
be
the same page.
introduced.
That's,
But that would just be an example.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think that's a great idea because
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much information coming at us, and then what we decide, we find out we cannot do, and so it kind of reverses where our plan is going. So I think it's a great idea. Great suggestion that you put something together for us.
But again, for training opportunities, if you decide that you want to send a commissioner to one of these conferences where there's a large fee attached to it, you could add that to your work plan. I don't see why you wouldn't.
so would that be a work plan and a budget request item, or would that?
Well, technically it would be, yes.
I feel like all of them need a budget. Somewhere. Like how do we pay for our day?
It's a minimal cost. Trying to think what are the costs.
Buy a tree.
Actually, the trees are often donated.
There we go.
So
Get the guys to dig the hole. Oh, wait a minute. we
yeah,
have-
I mean, some of these things don't have a budget allocation. And let me just go through the list here, okay? So if you just hold your questions until I'm finished with the report, because like I said, I'm watching the clock.
Okay, yeah.
Monitor city parks. So one of the items that's coming up is there's a list of all of the parks in the city, and the commissioners have in the past taking kind of ownership of like 3 or 4 parks, depending on how many commissioners we've had previously, I think it's like 4 or 5, because we just didn't have that many commissioners. And you would report back on these parks. You would visit the parks, you would see things that are great, and then you would see things that maybe need improvement. There's a falling tree branch, or there's graffiti next to the waterfront, or there's a light out right by a ball field, something like that. Believe it or not, there's a lot of things that the public sees that our park staff may not see, because there's only how many parks? 7. So it's very helpful. During that part of the meeting, John is got his pen and his pad. He is taking diligent notes. And it's also helpful for you. You get to know specific parks. They could be your parks that are in your neighborhood. They could also be parks that are across town. In fact, Commissioner Bozo, I'm going to use you as an example. He had last time Carriage Hills Park. I don't think he was familiar with the park before, but now he is.
Didn't know it was divided into 2 parts.
Okay, all right, so let's keep going.
Okay.
Establish guidance for a future pickleball court at a city park. Yeah, this is what we mentioned several times this evening. Study opportunities for parks and recreation services to have dedicated funding services. Commissioner Ramirez, I'm going to turn this over to you. Do you want to explain briefly what that was?
Yeah, one of the things that were frustrated for me is that money, right? To provide any kind of programs, you need money. Unfortunately, you've been here for a little while. We used to have a separate Parks and Recreation Department, 14, 15 strong. With COVID, that got decimated. The department was removed. Parks is separate. Recreation is part of admin under the general fund. So there are no dedicated funds for recreation. It's what comes from the general fund.
Well, actually, it used to be. Now it's its own fund.
Okay, so part of what I've always wanted to do, and I went and I talked to the recreation supervisor at Salinas and in Watsonville. They have their own dedicated source of funding. They passed sales tax measures. And particularly with Watsonville, that comes to mind, they have 2 separate sources funding from sales tax dollars. They have a very robust, I don't even know, they have a very robust program for recreation services at Watsonville. And part of that is because of the dedicated funding source that comes from sales tax dollars. And so I would love to see us get there. That's not an easy thing to do. It's a very difficult thing to do. It's politicking and trying to get enough momentum in Gilroy for people to say recreation is important for our kids. It's a safety issue. Police is a safety issue. I think recreation is a safety issue. So why can't we bring up when it comes up again for a sales tax measure, include part of the parks and rec? So if we have that, it would be a lot easier we'd have a more robust recreation program. We wouldn't have to charge $300 for a kid to play soccer, $122 for a swim lesson. Those are expensive for a lot of the kids here. So some people can afford it, some can't. If you have some kind of funding source, I think it'd be a lot easier.
Can I comment on this?
Sure.
Let me just finish Alex, and then you can ask questions, okay? And again, this is the previous commission, which is the 2024, the previous term. This is their work plan. So again, some of these items are no longer going to be considered to be on the next work plan, and some of them might be rolled over. Let's see here. Work with Gilroy to bring about a story walk to a park or a trail that is in the process right now. Story walk will be at Christmas Hill Park. And then this one was a late addition, represent the commission in Earth Day celebration at Christmas Hill Park that's scheduled to take place in April. We do have some here for public comment. And then if you go to the next page, it gives you more detail about the work plan.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you know what? I'm sorry. Okay. In any event, okay, so as I said, it's in the letter that not only does the city council want to see your input to the budget, but they also want to know what this commission's plan is going to be. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of the staff report, some of these items are applicable. That you can do 1 year and you can do it again the next year. Arbor Day is a classic example of that. Participating in training opportunities is another one. So monitoring the city parks would be another one. So and the staff, I would recommend to consider those items for your next work plan. Keep something in mind. This commission meets 10 times a year. And you need to know, well, actually, not, but it's important that you understand what your capacity is to take on. There is only so much that this commission can take on. So that's another thing to consider, which is why there's not 30 items on the work plan, but somewhere between, well, again, I don't want to use the number of work plan items to determine your work plan, but again, you want to keep it within what is your capacity as a commission to get done. Okay. And by the way, this is for not just 1 year, but it's for 2 years. It's a 2 year, it's for the next 2 year budget.
24, 25.
You don't have to adopt it tonight. You can do what you did with the budget development, which is discuss it, deliberate, ask questions, and then you could table it for the next meeting for adoption. And with the work plan, you can make amendments to it as you go along. You feel like, oh, you know what, this item, I don't know what we were thinking, taking this one on. Let's remove it and let's add this other item. Could do something. Great, that concludes my staff report. Are there any questions before we get to public comment?
So this isn't a question, it's a comment, do I need to wait?
Yes, this is just for questions, for clarification, because we do have a public comment, and then we'll go to discussion.
I guess I do have one question.
Okay.
The review of establishing a pickleball facility, it says final summary and results forwarded to recommendation to city council. What happened after all?
So that should have been, and I don't know if it has been or not, but that should have been forwarded for council correspondence. So on the city council agenda, they have something called council correspondence, and it's basically information that the city administrator share with all of the council members, and he would report on that at the meeting. I'm not sure if it's been done yet. I can follow up.
I don't think they have.
So next meeting, we'll find out about what with that recommendation from you.
No, you know what I will do is I'm going to send you an email with, because there's been some other questions that have come. And I'm going to, for example, the pickleball study, the final report. I'm going to send you updates.
Okay.
So you don't have to wait until the next meeting. You're going to find it, as these commissioners know, I usually send an email, usually within about a week of this meeting.
Yeah.
To let you know, here are some updates from what we discussed that you need to know for,
Okay, so your email.
Yeah, so for something like that, certain things I may not have before the next meeting, but if I know I can get it.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got a public comment here from Jan. She's gonna talk about Earth Day. Vice Chair Grimm, do you want to give her 2 or 3 minutes?
What do we have? 2 or 3? Is 3 good?
Yeah.
3's plenty.
Thank
Okay, then 3 minutes. You're welcome.
Hi, so my name is Jan Guppy, and I've been a member of the Gilroy AAUW here for about 3 years or so. And we have an environmental action. So the AAUW stands for American Association of University Women, and their mission is to promote gender equity for women and girls through research, education, and advocacy. So our committee, our environmental action committee, is more on the education about climate change. We've been thinking about climate change for a long time. We put on a program at the library last year about change. And so we had thought to partner with the Gilroy Garden Club. They have a very popular plant sale every year at the Millet Red. That is scheduled this year for April 19th. So we had hoped to partner with them. This is the news part for like they're doing one side of the barn and we're doing the other side of the barn, and they request that we put in they already have special use permit for the Miller Red Barn, and they requested that we put in another special use permit for the other side of the barn, and that was, I don't think was, that's fine. So, so we decided is to partner with CUTUS. So CUTUS is the community advocacy. Sure, whatever, down that.
Can you say it again? Can you say
Yeah.
it? Got it? Okay.
Coach community. Resource
Yeah.
Agency, anyway. They've been doing it, and they may have a place reserved themselves, on April 19th, April 26th, which is the following Saturday. They have a use permit for Cecil Park for their, Earth Day celebration, except I just found out today that they may have. But in any case, if they move it, we're still gonna work with that, because at our mission, I think more aligns with them. I mean, the garden group is wonderful people, man, they're so nice and everything, and they provide all these wonderful plants to provide. And that's gonna be a wonderful event there, 19th of November. But I think, we'll probably table there. I think they'll let us table. But I think our main focus is gonna be partnering with CUTUS for their Earth Day, whenever that is. It may be early May, I'm not quite sure. They're not quite sure, but something else came up that day for them, the 26th. They're gonna have to talk to the city about rescheduling. But I think that's gonna be a focus. So I appreciate all your support from we've had, I do, I'm a little. Sorry, I have one more minute.
Just a quick question, how do you get this information out to the public?
Oh, we've got a flyer, but being with Gilroy Garden Group, they did not want us. They did not coordinate with
Okay.
their flyer.
Okay.
They did not want to have one flyer, they wanted to have us to have our own event there. So that's just.
Okay. All right, so we can look
So yes,
for that date or go out to the Red Barn.
as soon as we figure out the date.
And- Okay,
So they let you guys.
thank you. Any questions? Anybody at the table? No? Okay.
Actually, can I just make one comment? It's not about this. There was one item that participate in citywide events by tour every day. So, let me just kind of give you a little bit important piece of information. There used to be something called the Bike and Pedestrian Commission.
Yeah.
It got consolidated and absorbed by the Planning Commission and the Parks and Recreation Commission. The Parks and Recreation Commission is taking up the education component of it. One of the requirements is to participate in this Bike Tour Every Day. There is some funding attached to it. This commission has been involved with it for, I think, at least 3 or 4 years now. Commissioner Bozo was there last year. I think Chair Pat Benson was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Chair too. Anyways, so that's another thing too, is participating in citywide events such as Bike Tour.
So I do want to comment on Earth Day. I know that the city was going to support by, having John, we're going to have wood chips there, right? Wood chips, and is that still something you're planning on doing?
Yeah.
That's for the plants there, right? So
It's
maybe the-
part of the
Right.
garden group. It just happens to be the same day, and
Wood chips and compost is there.
So what we were gonna do as commission, we were gonna have a table there with a few of us commissioners there that, have parks, flyers and that sort of thing. So does that leave us going the CUTUS direction? Does it, I guess that's my question to my commissioners here before and to you, Adam, with
it definitely complicates things. It sounds like they want to, it's not gonna be called Earth Day, so I don't know if it would still work, but we could reach out to the garden group, see if they're interested in having the commission set up a table there. But they're not having, Jan, correct me if I'm wrong, not having an Earth Day theme per se. It's really more focused on the gardens
The garden is not having an Earth Day, well, no way, but we have. So that would be the opportunity for Parks to take.
And who are you?
This is.
Okay.
So, okay, so
That is-
in that case, then we're not gonna focus on the April the 18th, 19th, okay. I just wanted. Thank you.
So how does the commission like help with? We don't approve the permits or anything, right? Like, what do we do?
No, so what the commission decided on was that they were very specific, that they would set up a table and kind of promote the city's parks and its recreation programs. If they wanted to do anything else, they would do it on their own. They wouldn't do it as representatives of the Parks and Recreation Commission.
May I just add one more bit of information? There is a possibility that it will be on the 19th, but at Christmas Hill Park in another location, depending on what Goddess wants to do.
Okay.
So
I just wanna say, if there's a table, I'd be interested. in
Okay, good.
reading.
Dude, T-shirts, you mentioned shirts?
Oh,
That is,
so I have one too.
what?
A polo. So the commission has polo, and the polo. It says City of Gilroy Parks and Recreation
Oh,
Commission.
yes.
And it's a green polo, it's a short sleeve polo that
Oh,
you
that
can
one.
wear at these types of events. You can wear it at Arbor Day, you can wear it at Bike to Wherever Day. Where the commission ends up tabling at Earth Day. So this way people see who you are. Oh, you're on the Parks and Recreation Commission. So remind me after the meeting to get your shirt size. I will order.
Also, are there supposed to be name tags and business cards?
Yeah, so we'll get to that as
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You keep it.
well. They work.
So I did want to comment on the way earlier conversation where we were talking about the sales tax proposal and like raising money, which I agree with. I don't think it is gonna be easy to get something like that done based on, I think, Measure C this year. Or whatever it was, but other cities and their parks and recreation program, and this is not incredibly popular, but Fremont, for example, I used to live there, I talked to some people there. They did like a pay to use type program to gather funding, so. For example, I know about their tennis program, their football. They would, it was like an online website and you'd have to pay for reservation, and they did gain funding. Through that, and they had other stuff too that I wasn't super familiar with. I think like they built a water park or something and you paid for that and that went into the. But something, it's, the people I talked to, they're like, yeah, we don't love it, like these are public parks, but. There's funding opportunities there, so we could look into how they, position their budget.
I'm just gonna pull an Adam, and I'm just gonna say, we're not Fremont, Gilroy, so in terms of looking at, monies to go out there, stuff, I mean, we have to be careful.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Right.
To be honest with you, I actually would not say that, because what I find very helpful is to see what other cities
I
do.
agree.
I remember speaking to Commissioner Ramirez about the city of Watsonville, because he had met with their director. He's the one who told him about their tax bond measure, which at that time I think had just passed. So
And
no,
I
I
think
think.
that Morgan Hill did that too. I think that's what they gained as well.
Yeah, so every city has different needs of generating funding, but I don't want to focus just on funding right now. Again, this is your work plan items. Someone may want to start the discussion about items that maybe already exist that you would like to roll over into your next work plan, and then, like I said, you could add more items based on what the work.
Madam Vice Chair, if I can, I know again, because we have new people and I'm just looking at this for the first time.
Yes.
Like you said, we have to table it. Maybe we do it like we did last time, like something we would all look at. I do say that monitoring city parks is important because I think all of us get a chance to see all the parks. I think that should stay on there. Every day I'd like to keep, we don't want to be the commission that ruins every day. Tree City designation, Gilroy's. I think we keep that up. Those are the low hanging fruit ones, city events, that's something we will always do. I think those should stay, and then after that, it's about what everybody's passionate. what they wanna do, what they wanna accomplish while they're here. And we can just throw that out there and then maybe make a decision now or wait till next month to finalize it, knowing that 10 meetings and limited resources and time.
I agree with hosting Arbor Day. I like the training opportunities, participate in citywide events. I think that's great. Monitor city parks. Yeah, I do think we should look into adding pickleball facilities in some way. I don't know how we'd put that in the work plan, but you know, just general, I know we did review, like last time we reviewed of establishing a pickleball facility. Now we could establish a pickleball facility, is what I wrote down, like, let's get it done. And then I think the Earth Day thing kind of falls into the participate in citywide event, or is that a separate?
It's not a city event.
No.
It's not a city event and it sounds like it's not certain either. And I don't know if it's gonna be around next year, because remember, she's just talking about what's coming up in April. And this, what you're talking about is for the next 2 years.
Yeah, okay.
What I'd like to say is I would like to keep or change up people's parks so that the newer people are real familiar with the parks, because you have look at it in a different way. And there's times when I've seen stuff, I'm sure everybody went, oh geez, that's broken, and just, I'll find John and say, hey, this needs to be fixed. So it's a real thing. So I'd like to continue that and have everybody, if they can, if you can assign them some parks, and then we really get used to seeing parks we never go to.
I personally, I don't know if this is correct, I'm sorry about this, but I would like Gilroy Sports Park because I live right by it and I walk there every single morning.
Okay, that is on the agenda. So we'll get to it. Okay, so Luis, Commissioner Ramirez, I heard 3 things that you said that you wanted to roll over.
And then I'm passionate, I would like to explore us raising the Parks and Recreation profile with the city. One of the things that we tried to do last year and it didn't ever get is like copying the park. Close to copying the park at different parks, whether it's San Isidro, Las Animas, just send out flyers to the local community. Hey, we're gonna be here. Let us know what's going on with the parks. And just rotating that throughout the city in the next 2 years. I think that's something that I'd really like for us to do. And then also better communication with other commissions. I don't think we just met the librarian. Sam and I went out to meet the librarian. That's how the storybook thing came together. We're thinking about doing it again in San Isidro bilingual, raising money for that. I think when you meet other commissions and commissioners, you can, arts and culture has a lot of stuff going on. That commission is banging. They've got a lot of good things going on downtown. And we could, meet with them and table with them and get the youth involved. So those are my 2 goals that I'd like to see is on top of these is those 2 things.
Commissioner Graham, do you want to just have each commissioner could go through their list, I'll write everything down.
Just a really quick to add on to yours too, if that's something that you have a passion for, and I don't know about the other committees, you might want to go from committee to committee, or there might be 2 of us that want to go and see what does it look like? What does your commission look like? What are you doing? Does it dovetail with other, and you see all of that. It's nice to see other people looking at it at a new lens.
Just so everyone knows, is just because it's not on the work plan, let's just take this item. Say this doesn't make it onto the work, it doesn't mean that you can't attend other commission meetings and report back during commissioner comments. So if it's not on the work plan, it doesn't preclude you from participating.
It's good to know. So somebody's got a passion for one thing, or if you want to learn more because you sound really inquisitive and want that knowledge, it would be a great opportunity.
Yeah, I've already met with some of the planning commission and they're super cool.
Yeah. And what do you do?
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. I just let you know it's 8:30.
I think we could call it unless there's anything that you have really, really important that we need to know.
Well, I'd like to finish this item.
Can
you
review what you?
I do, well, so far, I have I think a full list from Commissioner Ramirez. In terms of Arbor Day, monitor parks, participate citywide events, raise profiles, just copy the park, and better communication with other.
Those are my last 2 are my wants, right?
Yes.
The 3 other things we should keep, but the last 2 are my wants that I'm willing to discuss with other members
Okay.
to see what makes the list.
Okay. Okay, so do you wanna just have each person go around
Sure,
to either?
talk about their thoughts.
I mean, I think for the sake of time, if you were already in agreement with something, you can mention that, and then if you want to add something new, that's okay too.
I've heard
The
so much,
next meeting, you can.
okay,
you can-
because I've heard so much, I don't know what I've heard. So somebody that's real secure in this and wants to start with it, why don't you go ahead?
I just
You're-
did.
Well, he-
Yeah, all right, you, you, and you did,
establish a pickleball facility in here.
there you go. Okay,
And then I also had one that could be included in this. I don't know if there's like sub points or something, but like assess joint use agreements between the schools and the facilities. And then overarching, kind of what I was talking about earlier when I attended the last Wednesday's budget meeting, is just parks and recreation beautification as a whole, which leads into the city council's objective of establishing economic development, basically. So just like overarching, you know, big picture, we want to make our parks more beautiful for
okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, Sam, do you wanna?
Okay.
Wait,
Yes.
hold on a second.
Oh,
Hold on,
go ahead.
my notes are getting. Okay, all right, so we've got. Sam.
Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
So I want to piggyback on something that you said, Luis, about the storyboard.
Mhm.
And Adam, in order to bring that item up as an agenda item next month, what, do I need the full consensus of the board?
Well, technically, the storyboard is reoccurring because it's on the current work plan.
Okay,
And the current work plan technically expires in June. I don't know if the I'm sorry, I say story walk
Okay,
is gonna be installed by, probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it may bleed into the next fiscal year, but I would say this, it's at a point where the county and the city are going back and forth, it's fine language, and we're just waiting.
But I
Okay.
think Sam's point, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam, you're talking about carrying it further to San Isidro
yes.
and doing bilingual.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
I'm
what you're
sorry.
talking about.
Well, I didn't say that, but that's what he said, and I agree with what he said.
Okay, so that, okay, so just a second story.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And-
question about agendizing an item. Can you explain what that is?
But you know what, let's, because
Look,
we're focused on this.
I know.
Yeah, we can talk about that. But,
Yeah.
okay, second story, was there anything else that you wanted to bring forth that hasn't been mentioned or anything that you're already in support of?
On that issue?
Just on the board.
Oh, okay. Well, just to say that I want to, on that issue, I want to talk about the potential of raising money on for them.
Okay, so that's
Amazing.
the state issue.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No.
Okay.
Well, I'm in favor of.
Okay, we're getting punchy here. We got 2 more minutes.
Yeah,
Jorge,
Okay, once I heard, Mr. Ramirez talk about funding, I think it's like phenomenal. We should find funding for recs. Parking. So I think that should be our ultimate goal, so that way we have funding for everything. It's amazing that a city like Watsonville and or somewhere else, Watsonville, it's so farmland.
Yeah.
We're pretty much a suburb of the Silicon Valley, and there's more money here, and we should move forth on that. I'm in agreement with everything that's here. I'd like to continue, and there's nothing wrong with this work plan. It could be amended. We could add more stuff as we go. But I think this is suitable, and if anything, the funding should be a focus of what we can do to better improve and have a thriving community.
okay, thank you. Javier,
A couple of items on the list. I'd like to kind of roll over to our work plan are the Arbor Day for sure, and the monitoring the parks. But I think something that I don't really see here, or I don't know, maybe where we're falling that I don't see it, is kind of park safety. What specifically can we do around park safety that is not that's not in the work plan? And that could be lighting, that could be having some certain entries closed or open. So something along safety for sure. I do love the idea of us being able to meet with the community members of Gilroy to hear them out, to hear their perspectives, right? We were fortunate enough to have a pickleball group that came in, but there's a lot of people, there's a lot of community members that aren't aware of how the city processes work, right? That are also part of the community and are a big part of the community. And part of my why is I want to be able to voice their opinions and their needs. So I love the idea to go out and have coffee at our parks, meet some of our folks, like myself back in the day that I grew up in a park, to be able to hear them and hear their needs and their wants and see how we can help accommodate that.
Okay, thank you.
Very supportive of hosting Arbor Day, monitoring city parks. Walk in the park, I think that's great. I think was great, getting the community's involvement and input, what we could do to facilitate park improvements. You know, I think they look at Los Animas Park, kids are playing handball out there, and they have to sit on the floor while they're waiting their turn to play handball. And, you know, they have bleachers for all different types of sports, but I don't see no bleachers for the kids there. And just, so, you know, kind of improvement, I believe that needs to take place right there at Los Animas Park. I know there's a lot of tennis courts there. I'm not sure if all of them are in usage. But I like the idea of having pickleball, maybe even moved to Los Angeles Park and utilizing some of those courts. I'm not sure, like I said, I'm not sure if they all are used or not, but. And then the Parks and Rec department too, you know, I really like the funding for the Parks and Rec department. I really think that Gilroy needs that. And so I'm totally in agreement with those being part of the work plan. And that's what I like to see.
Thank you. Emily, do you have anything else?
You've already said.
Yeah,
that was applicable. But yeah, I agree. When I'm out at Los Animas at night, there's a bunch of people out there playing handball, and you're right, it's kind of in disrepair, and people are using it. You know,
I think
Sorry,
that,
did you have anything?
well, I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna add on to that piece. I think it's important that we go at different times. When we have our parks for Sun Park, go at different days and go at different times, because you get a whole different feel for how the park is used. And then other times I'll just be driving around town and go, oh yeah, I'm gonna go over to that park. I haven't seen it for a while, and just check in on it. So I think that that helps out you too sometimes, because we see stuff that you don't see.
I just want to add one thing this is something that I didn't focus on, but when you have an idea for the work plan, there should be a end goal. So I'm going to give you an example. If you don't mind, I'm going to use what's the end goal, you know, for it? What is it? For example, the story walk. Think we know what a story walk is? It's a series of storyboards, like they're outdoors. This what do you call it? No, the in the ground.
Steak?
Anyways, and it's a story. It's a children's story. And so the goal for this commission was to establish a story wall. And they're in the process. That's the end goal. And then it's done. So there should be some sort of goal. It doesn't have to be a tangible goal, because like the park assignments are ongoing. Park improvements could be rolled into parks. So for example, when you notice something like you were describing at the handball court, that could be part of your report when you have your park assignments, which means it may not be a standalone item on the work plan. It may be part of something else within the work plan. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. Same thing with park safety. You notice that there's this ongoing reoccurring safety issue. It could be rolled into park assignments, you know, or it could be brought up during if you decide to have a community meeting, like a coffee in the park, could be part of that. So just wanted to let you know, like, some of these ideas are great ideas, but they could be meshed with something else as well that is already there. So it's not a standalone. Okay.
I think it's a good time to have it. We have a lot of new people and what you do when you go in the park, just walk around, you know. There's more than that. Like I go over to, the big complex all the time, just because I ride my bike around, so I see stuff. And I can bring that in, and you go, oh yeah, I saw that too. And I think it's a worthy thing to have us doing that. But what is it exactly we're doing? Are we looking for broken branches? Are we looking for, fountains? I mean, overall, we're looking at everything. I don't know what, and then we talk to you, John, and you'll say, yeah, that thing's been broken for a while, I'm on it. And so somebody else knows that we brought that in and it's getting taken care of. So it's really good to have John here for our parks because he's the guy. So
I think we're all kind of repeating everything, but I do want to probably elaborate on what his goal is. I think that every park has an opportunity to be improved in a lot of ways, so it could be used to its maximum potential. I think that's what you're trying to get, whether it's adding an additional pickle or whatever it might be at each location, that's a win. And not just one designated area, because we all have to take into consideration parking. And we all know that some parking somewhere might not be best. So different things that you want, like what you want to focus on is to improve every single park. I think that's a very end goal per se. Assessing the current park and recommending what we could do here, what could we add, space for this or space for that, not just necessarily fixing a broken bench or adding a bleacher or so more to that.
I just wanna, for your knowledge, there is I don't know what document it is, it's like a document. And it designates like what types of parks the city has and like that, like Sunrise Park, that's a community park, it designates as community park, so. Los Animas Park, that's like a community gathering area or something, so it's already all laid out by the city. This is the type of park it is, like, this is what we expect to happen there, so they could use.
Okay.
It's like an intentional guide to what.
What's that document called?
Park.
Park master.
Yeah, it's sort of classification system. So if it's a small park, it's like a neighborhood. Its purpose is to serve the neighbors. Community park is really serving the city residents. So like Los Animas, Gilroy Sports Park, Christmas Hill.
San Isidro.
not so much.
It's kind of in the gray area.
Yeah, it is.
It does. Yes, and it's a park that receives a lot more foot traffic than most other neighborhood parks, but because of its size, and I think the intent, I would classify it as a neighborhood park. I think we're kind of very right.
Yeah.
But I do have a list here of everyone's asks for the work plan, and what I would do is type this up, and then for your next meeting, you'll have the list in front of you, and then you can really decide, okay, let's all agree on this, and this, and then let's focus on either adopting this item or this item. And that will make it so that it'll become, you'll be able to hopefully agree on consensus.
Can we assign parks today? Sure, yeah. Is that
It's
possible?
on the agenda, yeah, I am looking at the clock, so.
I just, one question about agendizing an item, and maybe I just wanna make sure that everybody's input was heard and will be showed up on this document. What does that mean and how does that work?
You know what, we can talk about that after the meeting, because we only have 14 more minutes and I'd like to keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not.
And I
pertinent to
totally
this
understand what you
particular-
say, just the new person will.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that everybody's show up here.
And my response was, at one point, we did have a big group of us that we would meet, and bond together and then figure out what's going on and who's doing what, and just getting more information in a more informal setting. Like we did at whatever, the Yellow House down there, by old,
Oh, I know, yeah.
yeah, what do you know what I'm talking about? Help me there. But
I'll be in the minutes next week.
Yeah, and it will be in the minutes. You are very good about
If
that.
there's something that's not in the minutes, you can have, you can motion to amend the minutes. So if something is missing. It can't happen, especially when you have a 3-hour meeting. That is the opportunity to let me know, and then again, if the commission approves of the amendment.
And I have to say too, I think some of us have a passion for like looking at a park a certain way and notice things. And that's really important when we can get together and say, hey, this is ongoing, John, or I've seen this all the time. And he can get to that faster than, the guys, because we specifically are looking for issues in the park, or at least I am when I walk through my parks, and then I make note and we'll send it in. So
Okay, so
it's important.
does someone want to make a motion similar to last time to table?
I motion to table item 10.3 to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Further discuss it then.
Second. It's here, okay, and then all those in favor?
All right,
Right.
Okay,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so the motion passed 7-0-0.
That's neat.
Okay,
Anything else?
let me just present something to you. Alright. We're not normally in this situation. Okay, these meetings should be 2 hours. Sometimes they're less, but they really should not exceed 3 hours. However, there are several factors for that tonight I'm not gonna go into. There are more items than there is time allowed here. It's almost 8:50. I've heard a lot about park assignments. People kind of wanna know what park they want. Do you wanna just skip to that item? And so you would be tabling the current status of the work plan, which essentially we've been discussing throughout the evening. The recreation updates and the status of city parks. John and I could save that for the next meeting and additional updates that happen, if you're okay with that. And then we could drop down to 13.1 park
do we
signs.
have to move to do that?
Yeah.
You would have to make a motion.
Can I make a motion, we skip to item 13 on the agenda and save 11, 12 for later? Second.
Okay, hold on one sec. Okay, so Louise. The air. Okay, all those in favor with,
Aye.
skipping 11 and 12 and going to 13?
All right,
Okay.
Good. Okay, so motion passes. Any nays? No. Motion passes 7-0. Okay. Park assignments. I've talked a lot. Did someone talk about park assignments who've been on the commission before?
can I'm happy to take that. So I think it makes sense if you have a passion for a park that you want, that you say that. And if you live next to a park, that's easy for you to say that as well. We can go around the table real quickly. We're all gonna have to take, how many, 17 parks or 7? We're all have to take at least 2 parks. Some have to take 3. We can rotate it, so we can just go right down the line and then we'll make a decision of that. So a bit.
Yeah, and just a couple things. One is I combined Christmas Hill Park and Ranch. Because it's a large park now. Sometimes in the past, I know we've split it, sometimes we've done it as one. So if someone's very passionate about doing ranch side, someone else passionate about the park side, that's fine. But the way it was laid out here, it's fine. So are you guys gonna go one?
Yeah. Just go, yeah, one.
So we should all just pick 1 or 2, or 1 and then go back around. to
I'd
the-
say pick your top 2 and then just go, and then if there's doubles, we'll have to figure it out.
Okay, so I'll choose my top 2. Would be Los Animas Park and Rainbow Park.
I would say Christmas Hill and Red Side.
Hold on.
Wait,
That's one.
hold on a minute, Chris.
So Javier,
So we got 8 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christmas Hill and Hecker Pass. Christmas
Yeah,
Hill being
okay,
one.
okay.
Okay, Commissioner Bozo.
Carriage Hill. And if somebody wants it, they can have it, but I'll do that one. Miller, I have, but Lewis lives closer to Miller. We ought to give it to him.
I'm okay, Sam, doesn't matter, you want it.
Okay.
So Sam, you got Miller?
Hmm?
Okay, you got Miller.
Vice Chair Grant.
I do Rainbow, and I get out to the Gilroy Sports Park also.
Commissioner Ramirez.
I can do Las Animas, but no, never mind. I'll do Roble, Butcher, and
Wait, just 2.
Yeah.
okay. Well, Butcher's nothing, so that doesn't count. So let me pick a third one. So I bet you nobody knows what Butcher Park is here, other than a few of us. Okay, so And I've never done. I'll do Sunrise.
Sunrise.
I don't remember what, but
You can pick.
One that's already.
Yes, you pick a goal.
I live by Gilroy Sports Park, like I said, I walk there like.
So go get it, yeah, two of us can do it, it's just
And then-
different days, times. Yeah,
And then, I go to Sunrise and Los Animas, but I'd be happy to take on.
Chili Casper's amazing.
Okay. And, Commissioner Romero.
Surprise how very didn't pick San Ysidro. I would pick San Ysidro, but I think my hindrance was I would love San Ysidro, I grew up
Yeah.
with that. But I don't speak Spanish. So, that's my hindrance, but,
It's not a prerequisite in this. particular-
well, I'm thinking copy out of the park, right? I think.
I don't know, we're just talking about park assignment.
yeah.
Okay.
This is when you
Just walk around.
just walk around, be a park user, an observer.
We're not doing the coffee yet.
Do you want?
I'll do Kristen, I'll do, San Ysidro. San Ysidro Park.
And then one more.
Uh,
So no one's picked Ren's, Los Arroyos, Gateway, or Del Rey. Just so you know.
Probably don't know where they are. I mean, some of them, I gotta drive around to figure out where they are. Do we have a map?
Any way you can provide a map?
this-
Yeah, do we have a
Someone,
map that says that?
Did someone
Yeah.
get Rainbow yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
All right, so we said Del Rey, I never heard of Del Rey.
Yeah,
All right, it's right by Luigi Aprea.
Okay.
It's
if you know where Luigi Prey is.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, that's park, that's the park.
Del Rey.
Did you take that one? Did you take Luigi?
Or is there another park, Commissioner Jimenez?
I was thinking Miller, but, well, let's, Rand, what are the options here?
And Ren's it's right by, is it church?
Forest.
Oh, it's Forest.
Well,
No, oh, Forest. Actually, Forest is in.
Oh, Forest isn't in on here.
That's the.
Yeah.
I think it's Forest.
Okay, you do Forest? Okay.
Okay, so, here are the parks that are left, since we have so many of you. Okay, so we have Ren's. Ren's is another very, very small park. It's called a pocket park. It's on Church, right? Or Ren? Oh, it's on Hannah. It's on Hannah. You would drive by.
so it's by the middle school.
No,
I know where that is. I know where it is. I know where it is. It's by my house. I'll take Friends.
Okay.
The one on the corner, is that on this list, that the one on Santa Teresa and
That's-
First Street
that's Gateway.
Gateway? Okay, is anybody taking that?
No one's taking that yet.
I'll take it.
I'll take Los Arroyos.
You know what Los Arroyos is? And then the only one left is Del Rey, which is right by Luigi.
Right.
Does someone have, two parks?
I can take it,
Like-
I don't know where it is.
It's right
Rancho
next to Luigi Aprea on.
Kelly.
Del Rey. What street is it on?
Oh, Del Rey.
Oh, yeah,
I don't have
Yeah,
a map.
It's on Kyle.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe then.
Somebody
yeah.
take that.
I will send this list out when I send my updates out, so we're all on the same.
So you're gonna send a lot, right?
Send it out, someone's taking it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Uh,
we're coming on 9 o'clock.
Wait, what's that?
The lights go out.
No, but he falls asleep.
Stop getting paid overtime.
He's been through some what?
Okay, I'm gonna stand up.
Oh, yes,
What's that?
it's called the grass field.
Oh, Farrell, it starts with an F. Farrell,
It's Farrell?
Farrell, it is Farrell.
It is Farrell.
Where's Farrell?
I don't know.
Hold on. Yeah.
Antonio
Yeah.
used to be.
Oh,
Oh, that's that. Oh, I go
This is the field. It's.
I meant like, we had to-
I can roll. You need someone there?
But it needs someone, we're gonna join the.
I live right-
You know, better.
Where?
live right there.
I'm driving down. That works.
It's shut down, right? It's shut down. Yeah, it's down. Well, how much you know what?
You see?
Who-
Or
who-
every time-
You know, let's, so it is 9 o'clock, well, Let's, would you like the motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'd like to say one more thing about these assignments, that we take a look at our assignments and maybe just go out there if you feel like you're driving around. And then if you don't like those, or they're not convenient, or you don't get it, or somebody else says, I'd really appreciate doing that park right now, bring that back to the next meeting. That would be my only
Yes,
thing.
so
And then you get,
you are not stuck with anything you don't want, because otherwise it becomes a chore.
well, and some of them are like the strip of grass right there by
Well,
Gilboa.
gotta do.
I do it.
And can I make, do you want to make one more comment?
So,
Very
so-
Parks and Recreation related, the city council they approved the civic center master plan. So the civic center is a big deal. It's like a community center in downtown Gilroy. They're gonna have their first meeting on
March 4th.
March 4th.
I'll
So
come down, that'll be fun.
that's something that if you're interested in, worth attending.
Okay, thank you. I move that we end our meeting as of 8:58 tonight. All in favor?
All right?
Opposed? Great.
All right.
Put it down there.
Thank you.
And it's a great idea about the names. One of the guys had to make something.
Yeah, yeah.
Say about names or doing. Like I'm-